our baseball home. Tonight, the Red Sox will host the Orleans Firebirds in an East Division Cape Cod Baseball League contest, where the stars of tomorrow shine tonight. The Red Sox would like to thank Milton Caterpillar for presenting and sponsoring tonight's starting lineups and events. Now for the visiting Orleans Firebirds. The Firebirds are managed and led by Mr. Kelly Nicholson. Here is their lineup for tonight. Leading off and playing center field from the University of Miami, number 17, Jordan Lala.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome into Red Wilson Field here in beautiful Yarmouth, Massachusetts. We got Cape Cod Baseball League action for you here. It's game 2 of 44 in the Young Cape League season. My name is Andre Sims, and alongside me, Brian McLaughlin. And Brian, game 1, they faced Cotuit, the Red Sox did, and it was an interesting matchup as, you know, people getting their feet wet, getting adjusted to Cape League pitching, often for some of these 10 players, especially seeing a higher caliber pitcher than what they're used to. And so first time through the lineup, they struggled, but we saw the transition happen the second time through the order. What did you like from the offense as the game went on?
There were a couple really deep at-bats. There were working counts. Guys like Austin Wells drew a couple walks. So sticking to your approach in the offensive side of things. And then we saw head coach Scott Pickler go to a couple different pinch hitters off the bench. And they came in off the bench ready to hit. We saw multiple guys come up with big hits and kept YD in it. Even gave them the lead at one point because of those guys coming off the bench. So early in this season, you're going to see a lot of those substitutions because the rosters are so deep with so many talented guys, and the ability to hit off the bench and come in cold like that can be huge and can decide some ball games.
Absolutely. One of those guys you talked about, Jeff Costello from Northeastern, came in off the bench yesterday, tripled and scored a run. What ultimately at the time was a go-ahead run, but ultimately falling, of course, to Cotuit. And he's in the starting lineup today. A couple other new faces as well in this starting lineup. As you mentioned, a lot of roster turnover in these early days. So who are you looking for from these new faces to make an impact today?
Well, I look at Jack Wold. He had a big home run yesterday, and so he's a guy that is returning to the lineup today for YD, and it's guys that we saw a lot of people up and down the lineup yesterday because we saw so many of those pinch hitters. So Jack Wold's one that's returning. Somebody else that's new to the lineup near the bottom of the order, Dalen Nanny, is a power hitter from the outfield. He's DHing from Western Carolina, so I expect him to have an impact at the bottom of the order. And these lineups are so deep from top to bottom, both sides, every single team. So I look at a guy like Nanny at the bottom of the order today for YD to maybe get things done.
Yeah, certainly not a lot of slouches in this league. You know, can't really take any breaks off 7, 8, and 9. So the guy on the mound that's going to be tasked with facing this Orleans lineup today is Ian Seymour out of Virginia Tech, and this was a guy that as a freshman in 2018 had a lot of success, regressed a little bit in 2019, but still had good numbers. What are you looking for out of him today?
Well, he's a guy that's really going to be able to control the ball. Doesn't walk very many for YD in this past year for Virginia Tech. He's also a pretty high strikeout guy, striking out over just one batter an inning. A lot of talent from Seymour on the mound. It's going to be interesting to watch because yesterday we saw Beller out of USC, a guy who didn't get a ton of starts, went just over 4 innings on the mound for YD. We'll see if Seymour, a guy who started a lot of games for Virginia Tech this year, if he can lengthen things out, maybe go deeper in the ball game. We'll see how Coach Pickler elects to use him today and elects to use the bullpen.
Yeah. A lot of arms on this YD team. A lot of traditionally, at least used traditionally as bullpen arms in this one. So it'll be interesting to see how deep Seymour goes in this game. You know, the Cape League as a whole not known for a lot of 6, 7, 8 inning starts. So we'll see what Seymour can do today. Starting lineups are being announced right now, courtesy of the silky smooth voice of Joel delivering our PAs for the season. First pitch between the YD Red Sox and the Orleans Firebirds coming up just on the other side of this break. We will be right back.
Number 31,
Wilson Fields here for this home opener between the YD Red Sox and the Orleans Firebirds here on Cape Cod at Red Wilson Fields. YD set to take the field for this home opener. It is their starting pitcher, lefty Ian Seymour from Virginia Tech, set to take the mound for YD. Brian McLaughlin with Andre Sims here to bring you the call. Andre, YD lost a tough one last night, 4-3 to Cotuit, while Orleans shined with the pitching staff, taking a 2-0 win in their own opening win and taking early control of the East Division standings. What are you looking for today in a home opener where pretty nice crowd? It was rainy to start the day, but the clouds have lifted. The field looks ready to go for some baseball.
Yeah, I mean, with the way this day started, it was raining throughout the night and well into the morning. It stopped around 11:30. Some of us were concerned that we weren't going to be able to get this game in, and so the fact that the sun is shining now, we got a well-represented Little League contingent here today. Always great to see a bunch of the local Little League teams. And the field looks great, and that's a credit to General Manager Steve Foucher and the crew that gets this field ready every year. He was very proud of the work that he put into this field. He himself, by hand, doing a lot of work in the offseason, making sure that this field would be ready to go for the season, and it looks great.
Seymour getting set to go on the mound, the lefty from Virginia Tech. 13 games started on the mound this year for the Hokies, a 3.97 ERA, and he went 70 1/3 innings on the mound. Only walked 24 men, struck out 81, so a big-time strikeout to walk ratio for Seymour on the mound. Let's meet the lineup today for the Orleans Firebirds, coming in at 1-0 on the season. Leading it off for the Firebirds, Jordan Lala out of Miami. He'll play center field. A.J. Lewis from Eastern Kentucky bats second and does the catching. The designated hitter bats third for Orleans. That's Max Troiani out of Bentley. Zach Kokoski bats fourth. He's from Kansas State. He'll play right field. Josh Zamora out of Nevada bats fifth. The shortstop, he hit a home run last night, and that was the only 2 runs of the game for the Firebirds last night. Scored and drove in one himself. Ray Gill gets the start today at third for Orleans. He's from Miami, bats sixth. Rob Emery bats seventh, plays first base from San Francisco. Zach Daniels will bat eighth. He plays left field out of Tennessee. And rounding out the batting order for Orleans is David Avitia. He'll do the catching and bat ninth from Grand Canyon for Orleans today. They're wearing their red road uniforms, white numbers and pants. YD in the home all-white uniforms, Red Sox across the chest with red piping. Blue panels on the back of the caps with a white front panel, socks, and a red brim for YD. Lala steps in the box from the left-handed side against the lefty Seymour. He'll set up from the wind-up on the third base side of the rubber. And step off, a slight delay here from Red Wilson Field. Deep breath from Seymour, winds and fires. First pitch off the plate away for ball one from Seymour, and we're underway from Red Wilson Field in this 2019 Cape League season.
Seymour is a guy who at Virginia Tech as a freshman set a host of freshman records en route to a 2018 all-freshman first-team season. I mean, I'm talking first freshman to lead the team in ERA, first freshman to lead the team in conference ERA, first one of only 6 freshmen in Virginia Tech history to record 50 strikeouts in ACC play. So this is a guy that came into a very high-profile ACC school and delivered and performed right away. This Cape League season could be big for him and his draft stock going forward.
Back-to-back pitches miss away from Seymour. Finds himself in a quick hole down 3-0 to Lala. He'll wind and fire the 3-0 pitch. Fastball notches the outer edge for strike one, called today by our home plate umpire Tim Carey. Jason Klump down the line at first, and Doug Isham is over at third base. Now the 3-1. Swing and a foul tip back into the glove of Eric Bijani from Lala. It's run full. Nobody down here in the top of the first between YD and Orleans.
Defensively, this is how the Red Sox will line up. Behind Seymour, left to right, Austin Wells, Jeff Costello, and Andrew Eister make up the outfield. Starting at third, Riley Terada. At third, Willie Escala at short. Wyatt Young at second base. Jack Wald at first. And behind the plate, as my partner said, Eric Bijani.
3-2 count to Lala. First batter of the game here between YD and Cotuit. The 3-2 from Seymour. Lifted in the air, back behind home plate. Bijani might have a play. Chucks the mask, takes a few steps towards the first base dugout, and makes a nice basket catch. First man retired from Bijani on the pop out in foul territory by Lala. Fine play by the catcher today for YD to get us going.
Impressive work there from Seymour to fall behind 3-0 and work back to get the pop out there.
Now A.J. Lewis steps in. He'll bat from the right side with one down. First pitch from Seymour is a two-seam fastball hacked backwards and out of play. And Seymour works ahead. A guy with so much command and Seymour on the mound, a little surprising to see him fall behind Lala 3-0, but fought back and now seems to be locked back in. The 0-1. Grounded softly foul off the foot of Lewis down the third base line, and Seymour now up way ahead 0-2.
Seymour, the first freshman in Virginia Tech history to record 10 strikeouts in a game, in an ACC game, mind you.
Here's the 0-2. Fastball just up and away to the righty Lewis. He set all sorts of records as a freshman at Virginia Tech. Now the 1-2 to Lewis. Swing and a miss over the top of the pitch on the inner half, and Seymour has set down the first two Firebirds he's faced.
Batting third.
Promising start for Seymour on the mound after a couple errant pitches in the first batter. Lala, he's locked back in. Now the designated hitter, Max Troiani for Orleans. He went 1 for 3 and was on base yesterday for Josh Zamora's 2-run home run. Seymour delivers a first pitch fastball off the plate inside to the righty. Ball and no strikes. Troiani, a designated hitter out of Bentley, 6'1", 215. Here's the 1-0. Fastball this time misses upstairs. 2 balls and no strikes to Troiani. Everybody straight away for YD defensively. Wind slightly blowing in. The 2-0. Another fastball upstairs, and for the second time today, Seymour finds himself down in the count 3-0.
Not a lot of off-speed thus far for Seymour in this one, really trusting his fastball early.
Finds the zone with the 3-0 fastball right at the knees. Troiani started down the first base line, but will have to dig back into the batter's box, now 3-1. Here's the wind and the 3-1 pitch. This one misses off the plate inside, and the first base runner for Orleans today is on a walk from Seymour. Frustrated with himself out on the mound, a guy who had such great command this year for Virginia Tech.
Yeah, 81 strikeouts against 24 walks, and those are impressive numbers regardless of what conference you're in or at any level that you're pitching at. To have a 3-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio, over a 3-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio, as a starting pitcher throwing over 70 innings is impressive.
The lefty from the stretch for the first time, now against Zach Kokoska. Delivers a first pitch breaking ball that dips down low. 4-1. Kokoska playing right field today for Orleans. Went 0 for 4 yesterday with a couple of strikeouts. Bats from the left side out of Kansas State and a Wildcat. Seymour sets just below the belt. Checks on first, now to the plate. Fastball is hacked foul and out of play. A ball and a strike now to Kokoska. Jack Wold, the first baseman, holding on. Troiani over at first. Seymour comes set, working from the third base side. Runner takes off for second. The 1-1 pitch misses upstairs. Bijani's throw on a bounce gets into center field. Taking off for third will be Troiani, and he'll get there without a throw. Goes in with the feet first slide. Looked like Bijani didn't get a great grip on that throw to second. Bounced it underneath the glove of Willie Escala. And now Orleans has a runner on third with 2 down.
Yeah, it was a great jump from Troiani at first. He had Seymour timed, lefty, obviously you want to go on first movement, and he had it timed perfectly. Even with a good throw, I'm not sure if Bijani would have gotten him, but with the throw going into center field now, first run of the game, only 90 feet away.
2-1 count to Kokoska. The pitch is a called strike. knee high from Seymour. 2 balls, 2 strikes now. Seymour still from the stretch. Here's the 2-2. Called strike 3 on the outside corner. Seymour sits down Kokoska to end the first. Orleans threatened. They'll leave 1. No hits, no errors from YD in the field. Leadoff men coming up for YD when we return here on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. Welcome back to Red Wilson Fields. Bottom of the first for YD as they come to the plate here. In the bottom of the first inning, it'll be Wyatt Young to lead it off for YD against Andrew Abbott on the mound for Orleans, the lefty from UVA, and an 0-2 record for Orleans back in 2018. And he's returning with Orleans now this season. For UVA this year, he had 24 appearances, 2 games started for the Cavaliers, 3.89 ERA for Abbott this year for Virginia. Young steps into the left-handed batter's box in this lefty-lefty matchup here in the bottom of the first. First pitch wind-up, swing and a miss from Young on the first pitch fastball, 0-1. Young, 5'7", playing second base today for YD out of Pepperdine. The 0-1 pitch misses upstairs. A ball and a strike now to Young. Following Young in the order will be Andrew Eister out of South Carolina. He'll play right field today for YD. Jack Wold hit a home run yesterday. He'll bat third out of UNLV. Riley Tarada is in the cleanup spot out of Dayton. The 1-1 to Young. Lined back foul, and now Abbott up in the count 1-2. Following Tarada will be the left fielder, Austin Wells out of Arizona, and then Jeff Costello, who had an RBI triple yesterday as a pinch hitter, plays center field and bats sixth. Eric Bajani does the catching. He'll bat seventh. Dalen Nanny, the designated hitter, bats eighth, and Willie Escala rounds out the YD order. The 1-2 pitch popped in the air from Young, third base side, over for Ray Gill, near the boundary, and he makes the catch in play for the first out of this inning. There's a white chalk boundary down that third baseline, and Young sprinted over just beyond the YD dugout and was able to make the squeeze for a fine first out.
Yeah, it's an impressive range there into foul territory. With the amount of foul ground here at Red Wilson Field, it kind of feels like O.Co in Oakland, where it seemingly just goes on forever. And it's one of those plays where it feels like off the bat it's out of play, and then all of a sudden it's in the glove for an out.
Now Andrew Eister up to bat for YD. He went 2 for 2 yesterday. First pitch misses down and away to the right-handed hitting Eister from South Carolina.
Defensively, behind Abbott, the Orleans lineup as follows. Left to right in the outfield, Zach Daniels, Jordan Lala, and Zach Kokoska. Starting at third base, Ray Gill, Josh Zamora on the left side of the infield, A.J. Lewis, Rob Emery on the right, and Avidia behind the plate.
1-0 is swung on and missed by Eister. Evens the count, a ball and a strike with one down. Bottom of the first, we're scoreless here at the YD home opener between Orleans and the Red Sox. The 1-1. Eister drives it in the air, pretty deep right field. Kokoska going back on it. He'll look up. It's gone. Andrew Eister, a solo shot, his first of the year, gives YD a 1-0 lead in the first. Opposite field from Eister. He is 3 for 3 as a YD Red Sox, has 2 RBIs, and now a solo home run. What a start to his YD career.
It's certainly a great way to make a good first impression here on Cape Cod. An RBI triple yesterday and then a solo shot today to start the game. YD just like that, up 1-0.
And now another man who hit a home run for YD yesterday, Jack Wold, swings at the first pitch and chops it foul off of Abbott down the first baseline. That's some power from Eister, going the other way to right field. And in this ballpark here at Red Wilson, that's not a shallow part of the park down the right field corner. 346 down the right field line. Here's the 0-1 to Wold. He'll ground it right side at the first baseman Emery, down to a knee, gloves it, and steps on the cushion at first for the second out here in the first frame.
Eister making a good first impression on both sides of the ball yesterday, although it ultimately didn't record an out, had a very impressive throw from left field, nearly got a runner that ultimately was the winning run and beat him by just a step, but it was nonetheless an impressive throw and a hard-hit single into left.
And Donta Williams scored from second, but Eister, an absolute laser to home plate to Adam Kerner, who laid the tag on just late for the eventual game-winning run for Cotuit yesterday. First pitch, a called strike to Riley Terada on a breaking ball. Actually, down low for ball one to Terada. 1-0. But Eister, definitely one of the ones shining early for YD. Now the 1-0 lifted sky high by Terada to center field. Lala drifts back a few steps, shades his eyes from the sun, and he makes the squeeze for the third out of the inning. But YD strikes first. Andrew Eister, a solo shot to right. That's the only run and the only hit in the inning for YD. Top of the second. Coming up for Orleans, it's 5-6-7. Due up in their order. We'll be back. It's 1-0 YD on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. Back at Red Wilson Field, top of the second, YD on top, 1-0 over the Orleans Firebirds. First divisional matchup of the year for YD. They took on Cotuit last night. Jump out in front both nights so far via a solo home run. Last half inning, Andrew Eister, solo shot to right to give YD the lead. First pitch of this top of the second misses upstairs from Ian Seymour, dealing to Josh Zamora, shortstop from Nevada for Orleans, hitting from the right side. Seymour winds. Here's the 1-0 to Zamora. Swings away, but fouls it off over the right field bleachers and out of play. 1-1.
It'll be interesting to see how Zamora works now, working with the lead. He's already working quickly, shows that early on thus far, but interesting to see how he changes up his approach with hitters working with the lead.
The 1-1. Chopped left side, gloving it there is Riley Terrata. Lasers a throw to first. Jack Wold maneuvers around the bag for the first out. Goes 5-3 here in the top of the second as Zamora grounds out.
Batting 6, the third baseman from the University
Now
of
Ray
Miami.
Gill due up
Number
for
44,
Orleans.
Ray
Gill
Gill.
getting his first start for the Firebirds out of Miami. Playing third base today. He'll bat from the right side against Seymour. Saw Gill make a fine catch on a ball drifting out of play in the bottom of the first on Wyatt Young. He'll take a first pitch fastball around the eyes for ball one. These Cape Cod League ballparks, not everyone is anywhere near the same. We saw last night in Katuitt fencing around the siding as he lines the 1-0 pitch right at Terrata at third. He'll make the squeeze for the second out now, both going at Terrata at third base, and a quick 2 down for Seymour now in the
The
second.
first baseman from the University of San Francisco.
But as I was saying, Gill made the fine catch. Interesting as we explore each ballpark here, Andre. Whitey has the lining down each foul line to signal in and out of play. Some have fencing. It's a little bit of a different atmosphere we saw after Gill made the catch, run about 10 or 15 feet into the crowd.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting to see how these different ballparks play. Each one of them has their own unique charm on the Cape, and that's part of what makes this league so great, is that it's so different.
First pitch misses inside and a breaking ball to Rob Emery. Emery playing first base today from San Francisco. He went 2 for 3 yesterday, did strike out once. The 1-0. Breaking ball, line back up the middle. That's a base hit. First hit of the day for Orleans. There goes the no-hitter for Seymour. Just the second inning this time. 2 down, runner on first. Whitey on top, 1-0 over Orleans in the top of the second. And with 2 down, a runner on first, it's Zach Daniels at the plate out of Tennessee. So Emery, a good start to his Orleans career. 3 for 4. Now Zach Daniels, a chance to make a good early impression in his first at-bat for the Firebirds. Tall, right-handed hitter from Tennessee, 6'2", 206 pounds. Seymour delivers a first pitch, chopped on the ground, left side, gloved around the third base bag. Terrata throws on the run. It's in time. Daniels was booking it down the line, but Terrata gets him on a nice throw. All 3 outs of the second frame to Terrata. Orleans is scoreless through 2. They get 1 hit, leave 1 in the second. Whitey on top. Through 1.5, 1-0. We'll be back in the bottom of the second on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. Bottom of the second, back at Red Wilson Field. YD on top of Orleans 1-0 as they come to bat for the second time today. It's Wells, Costello, and Bijani due up for YD against Andrew Abbott, the Virginia junior on the mound for Orleans. Just 1 run so far for YD. Came on a solo home run from Andrew Eister last half inning. First pitch misses down in the dirt from Abbott on the mound to Wells, and it's a 1-0 start. And this is a guy at the plate, Andre, that we are really excited to watch this summer. What a freshman year we saw from Austin Wells.
Seriously, he is one of the best talents, young talents especially, in the Pac-12. And as an Arizona State student myself, I heard his name long before I was committed to coming here this Cape League season. He's the guy who, out of Bishop Gorman High School in Las Vegas, a very, very prominent athletic high school, he definitely has the potential to be an all Pac-12, all conference performer year in and year out. Had a monster freshman season and can only build on it going forward.
Takes back-to-back fastballs on the outer edge for called strikes. Now the 1-2 from Abbott. Misses upstairs with the fastball, 2-2. Wells, one of the best parts about him that I think we saw in his stats as well as on display last night, a great eye at the plate. Drew 2 walks. He went 0 for 2, but got on base twice, and that was something he showed off as a Wildcat as well. The 2-2 is chopped foul. He stays alive down the first baseline.
Yeah, when you think about a lot of the issues that young hitters have, especially as they transition to the college level, it's usually plate discipline. And for him, that's a problem he doesn't have. Has such a good eye for the strike zone that it only makes him a better hitter because he can recognize the bad pitches.
The 2-2 misses up and in, and he's worked it full, 3-2. And a lot of people talk about an advanced approach, and that's not something that's easy to have as somebody who just graduated high school or finished their freshman year of college, and he just has it right now at the plate. Abbott winds. Here's the 3-2. Fouled back by Wells, and he's run it full and fouled off a couple pitches, working a deep at-bat in his first plate appearance here at Red Wilson Field.
And the other thing with that is it allows him to see pitches. You start to see the full arsenal of a pitcher, and it allows you to make those transitions, make those adjustments, so the second time through the lineup, you can have a better at-bat and on top of an already good at-bat to start it off.
Another 3-2, breaking ball called, strike 3. Abbott pulled the string on him that time, and Wells goes down looking for the first out of the second.
Northeastern University, number 30.
First strikeout of the day for Abbott on the mound. And there the patience approach maybe came back to haunt Wells a little bit. You don't necessarily expect a 3-2 breaking ball, but he got one. A nice pitch for Abbott for his first strikeout today.
Yeah, that's confidence from Abbott there in his off-speed stuff. Don't want to get the leadoff man off 3-2, but trust his stuff, trust his breaking ball, and is rewarded with it.
Swing and a miss from Jeff Costello on the first pitch he sees today from Andrew Abbott. Costello only one at-bat yesterday, and he made the most of it. A pinch hit RBI triple for YD. He chops the 0-1 left side outside the range of Gill, picked up by Zamora at short. Throw on the run to first in time. A fine play by Josh Zamora to retire Jeff Costello for the second out of the second inning.
Fine defense on display for both teams early on in this game. Didn't really get a chance to talk about it in the last half inning, but Riley Tirado with an outstanding play to end the inning, circling around the ball near the bag. Not one, tripping over the bag, two, losing track of the ball and making a strong throw across his body, across the diamond to Wald at first.
First pitch to Eric Bijani's fouled back. And in that instance, Zenora had to not only deal with fielding the ball, making the throw, but Ray Gill was cutting across right in front as well. So all sorts of obstacles there. And the defense on display early in this one. 1-0 YD, bottom of the second. 2 down. The 0-1 pitch misses up and inside to Bijani for a ball and a strike. Bases clear for YD here in the second. Abbott, slight crouch and delivers the 1-1. Bijani back through the middle, softly outside the reach of Abbott. Lewis rounds it, throws off 1 foot, on time and in time to first base in order to get Bijani. A bang-bang play at first and a fine play by Lewis. Didn't get much on the throw, but he was able to retire Bijani. YD goes in order. In the second, they lead 1-0 through 2. We'll be back for the third on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network.
Back here for the top of the third inning. Andre Sims, Brian McLaughlin with you. 1-0 Red Sox here on the first inning solo shot off the bat of Andrew Eister. 9-1-2 due up here for Orleans as David Avita, the catcher, will lead it off here. Batting from the right side as Ian Seymour begins his third inning of work with the pitch just off the inner half for a ball, 1-0. So far, Seymour has faced 2 over the minimum. Walked Troiani in the first and allowed the single to Rob Emery in the second inning. Looking for his first 1-2-3 inning of the day as the second pitch misses down and in. As the clouds continue to clear, what started as a dreary morning has given way to an absolutely picture-perfect day for baseball as that fastball's off the inner half, 3-0.
It really has. The clouds are clearing. We have some blue sky, a nice little breeze, a beautiful evening on Cape Cod.
The 3-0 pitch, take sign is on. Dropped behind the plate by Bajani, but it's still a called strike nonetheless, 3-1.
And it's interesting for how much control Seymour had coming in. He's fallen behind a lot of these Orleans guys early.
That one got the umpire on the foul tip, got him in the hand, and that did not look good. Home plate umpire Tim Carey instantly wheeling away in pain, and he is down. Looked like it got him right on the hand, and that's never something you want to see.
Yeah, like most umpires, when he got in the crouch, puts his hand down behind him, but the way that ball got tipped on the swing and the angle it dropped in, I think it got him just on the wrist. An odd play and one that is so rare in baseball, but dangerous for any umpire, and he's really in some pain down there. It's one of those that it's nothing nobody can do, just an unfortunate play.
An unfortunate foul tip, and that's one of those that you really hate to see just because it can cause so much pain, and if you catch your hand just right, that could very easily be a broken bone. I've had friends who have played baseball who have taken balls, foul tips off the wrist, off the finger, off the hand, whatever it is, and that's real pain that you can feel, and it's just unfortunate because it is just by chance.
Yep, and it's one that, as an umpire, not exactly expecting either. You can take a kind of an awkward bounce as a batter. Sometimes you can brace for something like that on a pitch coming inside, almost preparing for it to hit you when you see it coming right at you. Just a little bit of a flex to kind of keep it from really registering one of those big-time hits right on the bone. As an umpire, there's no reaction time there. That one got him pretty square on the wrist. He's up on one knee now, clearly in some pain, but I hope that Tim Carey is okay behind home plate. We'll see if he can even continue this one, clearly in a lot of pain, and you hope he's okay. That's something that you just really hate to see when you're watching a baseball game, because you know when the ball is being thrown 90-plus miles an hour and a batter is swinging a bat so hard, there's a lot of violence that goes on there. Even though it's not necessarily lauded as a contact sport, there's a lot of room for error and a lot of potential for some injury on a play like that. And it's just, when you see things like this, you always hold your breath a little bit and hope everybody comes out okay.
We're unable to see the hand itself as he's being blocked by his fellow umpires from our point of view, but I imagine there's some stretches going on, really seeing what his range of motion is and seeing what exactly the extent of the injury is. As one of the trainers for YD is coming back with a bag of ice now. Hopefully he can continue.
Imagine it's probably swelling up very quickly.
Instantly.
That's why you get the ice on it. And we'll see if, like you said, if he can continue or if they want to take it for x-rays. But like you said, trainers are out there. Both Scott Pickler for YD is out there along with Kelly Nicholson of Orleans, quickly running out on the field, trying to hopefully making sure the umpire's okay.
For those of you listening at home and wondering, the game can continue with just two umpires. One will switch and throw on the gear and go behind the plate. The other taking a more central role, sort of behind the pitcher's mound in between second base, making the calls. And Tim Carey back to his feet, and a good round of applause from the fans here in attendance today at Red Wilson Field.
Still trying to check those reflexes, I think. Check the range of motion on his hand, on his wrist. One umpire just quickly ran out off the field and wonder if he's headed to his car to maybe put on his gear for behind the plate. It's, if I had to guess, what he is doing.
Seymour staying warm, playing catch with his infield right now. It's been about a 3-4 minute break for this injury, and not a lot of time, but when a pitcher's getting into a rhythm, that can affect them adversely.
Yeah, it's always interesting on a kind of an unprepared break like this for the pitcher, whether whatever happens to cause some sort of minor delay, how they can come back and respond, because it's not like the ball was just put in play either. That was on a 3-2 pitch, and so it'll be another 3-2 pitch upcoming. You're in the middle of an at-bat, and it's hard to kind of continue something like that at times.
Tim Carey continuing to talk it over with the YD training staff. He's got ice now taped to his hand. We'll wait and see if the other umpire returns with gear on, or it looks like he is handing over the lineup cards, so it looks as though Tim Carey's day is done behind the plate, but still no official word.
He has that whole bag of ice wrapped around with some actual tape taped to his hand right now on that outside part of the wrist up along the pinky area. Could be any of those just minor bones in that general area.
A lot of little bones in the hand there, and a lot of things that are easy to break. You think about like a boxer's fracture right there on the knuckle.
Yep.
Something like that where in a matter of a second,
With our corporate sponsors,
just a broken bone.
we want to recognize and thank Franklin Sports.
Now Seymour's even headed to the dugout. You wonder if he just wants to sit down and take a few minutes off, if they think it's going to be a long break between the umpires switching. That's what it really seems like is happening. Tim Carey's still out on the field. You'd think if he were leaving, he would have headed and try to start to get changed or something along those lines, just to maybe go see if he needs his hand x-rayed.
Sports picks. On Deck Sports.
Carey now talking it over with the two managers.
Area Chamber of Commerce, H.P. Hood, and Sunderland Printing. And of course, thank you to Major League Baseball.
As this continues to get sorted out and we wait for the third umpire to rejoin the field, may or may not be in home plate umpire gear, remains to be seen. We're going to take a quick break and be right back. The Red Sox up 1-0 here on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network.
For sales and
Back here at Red Wilson Field, we're still waiting on the umpire to return with home plate gear. We're still in a bit of a delay now as we're pushing around 10 minutes. Some of the Red Sox defensively still on the field. The outfielders hanging out in center right now. Infielders are posted up across the diamond. Bajani and Seymour have since returned to the dugout.
That means grilling and snacking season.
We have received word, courtesy of some other interns, that home plate umpire Tim Carey is going to urgent care, presumably to get x-rays. I can only imagine the pain that he was in that moment. You could see it instantly.
You could see it, you could even just hear it, and he was clearly in a lot of pain, and you hope he's okay. You hate to see anything like that happen at all on a baseball field. Not a fun sight for anybody, and now, of course, dealing with the delay, it's always interesting. We mentioned this before break. How does the pitcher deal with it? He's in a 3-2 count with David Avidia, and when he comes back, Ian Seymour, we'll see how he deals with it. Then on the other side for Orleans, how does Andrew Abbott continue? Because this really lengthens this top of the third inning for him as the starting pitcher on the other side. How does he try to stay warm? Do they get anybody else up in the bullpen for Orleans, as we have one of the umpires running to their car to grab some extra umpiring gear? So there's a lot of questions to be had with baseball related, how this will go from here. And then with only 2 umpires, makes things, potential tag plays at different bases, even more a little bit bang bang. It just makes their job a little bit tougher, and obviously that's what you kind of have to deal with sometimes, but something where a lot of these guys now will see how this game's affected otherwise, and just a rough situation for Tim Carey, and you hope he's okay moving forward.
This is the only game going on in the early window today. A couple games got canceled.
Yeah.
On the Cape, as the Wareham game was canceled, as well as in Hyannis. So only 3 of the 5 games today are going to be played.
And delivering them daily.
As we look ahead for the Red Sox, we got some fun times ahead for us.
Oh, yeah.
As broadcasters and for the team themselves, as we have games in both Hartford and Boston coming up, playing at BC High.
It is open 7 days.
So those will be fun. We're heading out there in a couple days. Excited for that. Neither of us were here last season, but we've heard from those who were that the trips down there to Hartford and to Boston are exceptionally fun. So I'm looking forward to that.
Please visit Ponds de Vignon.
State-of-the-art fields, both in Hartford and BC High. BC High tomorrow against Wareham. Get to knock out one of those trips early in the season. That'll definitely be a great experience to get to go to Boston for the players playing on a different field, so maybe some fans from the Boston area. Despite they can catch the early baseball game before the big hockey game coming up tomorrow night for everybody in Boston, but should be a really good experience for everybody involved. Looking just dead to BC High, and then Hartford is an experience that these teams have done before, but get to do it again. For us, it'll be the first time getting to experience the Hartford Yard Goats Stadium and get to do a lot of those cool things for these players playing on that professional level of kind of atmosphere. That while the Cape has kind of its own atmosphere that is very unique, it's even different to play in a professional atmosphere like that.
Absolutely. Not the only time that this YD Red Sox team will travel to Boston is, of course, when you look ahead, you got Fenway Day, which is sort of the jewel of the Cape Cod Baseball League season for these players. It's an opportunity to be at Fenway Park on the field, taking batting practice, running 60 times, all these things with, it seems like, a section full of scouts with all eyes on them. So impressive times coming up ahead as we look ahead at the schedule overall. Tomorrow, taking on Wareham, as we mentioned. Off day on Thursday, but not for some of these teams on the Cape, as they'll be making up today's game on Thursday. But the Red Sox do indeed have an off day. And then we take on Bourne and Chatham and on the road, and then Cotuit comes to Red Wilson Field in a home matchup for the Red Sox. So a brief 3-game road trip, if you call it, with Wareham being the home team at BC High tomorrow, and then traveling to Doran Park and then Veterans Field in Chatham before returning to Red Wilson Field on Sunday. Seymour is retaking the mound and is getting some warm-up tosses in, as it looks like we are set to momentarily resume this game.
Now this is, we talked about this a couple times. He has to get kind of back loose, warm back up, and he's in the middle of a 3-2 count, nonetheless, to David Avidia. And Seymour has not been pinpointing his command early today. He's struggled a bit, only walked one man, only allowed one hit so far, but he's fallen behind a lot of these Orleans batters. So we'll see. Kind of an interesting scenario. You don't often get just thrust into a 3-2 count, especially a guy who's only started this year for Virginia Tech. So it's not even like he came in the middle of an inning as a reliever. So this is an interesting scenario for Seymour.
David Avida from Grand Canyon University.
So we are back here. David Avidia from Grand Canyon. Not too far down the road from me at Arizona State. Beautiful ballpark there. Beautiful, beautiful field at Grand Canyon University. The 3-2 swung on and missed, and about 15 minutes after it started, David Avidia goes down in his at-bat, and that's the first out of the inning.
Tough for him as well to come up and only really get one pitch, and that was probably up high for ball 4. But Grand Canyon, beautiful ballpark. I've been one time to actual Grand Canyon and absolutely loved it.
So now we cycle back to the top of the order, and Jordan Lala swings over the top of an off-speed pitch. 0-1. Lala skied a 3-2 pitch directly behind home plate that was fielded well by Bijani in his first at-bat to lead off the game. The 1-1 on its way is once again swung on and missed, and Lala is not recognizing that changeup out of the hand of Seymour.
Nope, that's a great pitch from Seymour. He was able to just pull the string Lala out in front that time.
Seymour working head 1-2, once again pulled the string, and that's the second strikeout of the inning for Seymour, and there are 2 down.
He is a solid pitcher out on the mound for YD. We saw his numbers from Virginia Tech. A lot of guys who have faced him, even in the ACC, have just said that pitching staff for Virginia Tech was really quality. They didn't win a ton of ACC games this year, struggled at times, but that's a really quality pitching staff, and he was one of the frontliners for it.
First pitch is a breaking ball that doesn't break upstairs to A.J. Lewis, second baseman, and it's 1-0.
We've seen him go to the off-speed a lot more this inning.
Working quickly is Seymour. The 1-0 is flared out into right field, and that one looks like it has eyes, and it does get down for a base hit for Lewis.
Didn't get all of it, that's for sure, but sometimes you just able to float it over that first baseman's head. Wolds didn't even attempt it. It was too deep, and Eister couldn't quite close and make the catch. Just seeing Ice single over the right side of the infield that time for Lewis.
Floated into that Bermuda Triangle area in between right, second, and first. So Seymour back in the stretch. Checks on Lewis. That's a good pickoff move. Just barely back in time. And that's one of those plays we talked about where only having one umpire, the perspective from behind the mound, not quite there, not quite exactly where you'd want to be for that call.
YD picked off a couple people last night as well. Definitely a close play over there first.
You hear a lot with lefties how they have their okay move and then their A-plus move. And that one right there was his definite A-plus move. Caught A.J. Lewis leaning a little bit as he really had to dive to get back.
Yep.
It's interesting. A.J. Lewis listed as a catcher for Orleans, but playing second base tonight and was leaning as if he were to go, and that one squeaks under the 5-hole of Bijani, and Lewis advances to second.
Have to imagine that's a wild pitch. One Bijani probably should have blocked, but able to just squeak through enough, and a good read by Lewis to take off and take second.
Tying run at second here, 1-0 our score here in the top of the third inning. As Seymour comes set and gets ready to deliver the 1-0 pitch to Max Troiani. Out of the stretch he deals, and that one's through the left side, and that's a base hit. Lewis is being waved in. Here's the throw. It's a good one, just up the line, and Lewis will score, and this game is tied at 1. So an RBI double from Max Troiani, the DH out of Bentley, and this game is tied at 1 apiece.
Back-to-back 2-out singles, but that wild pitch proves costly. It would be first and third, or maybe even first and second with a single to the left, but the getting into scoring position with 2 outs ends up proving the difference and evens the score.
That'll bring up the cleanup hitter, Zach Kokoska out of Kansas State. Struck out looking his first time up to end the first. First pitch is a breaking ball inside, and it's 1-0. We saw this in the Cotuit game yesterday where YD took the lead but ultimately couldn't hold it. That happened twice in that game as they fell 4-3. The 1-0 on its way, swung on and misses. There's that changeup again. An interesting thing that I've noticed from Seymour is after every pitch, he throws the ball behind his back into his glove before resetting.
Just one of those habits that pitchers can develop.
1-1 the count here. Kokoska at the plate. The pitch is on its way, swung on and misses. Breaking ball in the dirt, and it's 1-2. Seymour very quickly back, settled in, ready to deliver the pitch. Waiting on Kokoska to get back into the box. Gets the sign from Bajani. And the 1-2 is on its way. In the dirt once again. This time Kokoska lays off, and it's 2-2.
Really living down low to Kokoska. I'm not sure if it's the changeup or trying to go a two-seamer. I would have to think it's something off speed when you're missing that far down, trying to get that changeup that's been effective at times this inning.
And Seymour still trusting Bajani behind the plate despite the fact that he had the pass ball earlier. And Seymour bluffs the throw to second. That's important to have trust in your backstop, to be able to deliver those pitches in the dirt and not have them go right to the backstop. There's a lot of space between home plate to the backstop. Very easy to advance on pass balls. The 2-2. Fouled straight back into the screen. Kokoska was on it, and we'll do it again.
Definitely on that one, and that one was a little bit higher up in the zone, hittable for Kokoska. After such a good start to this inning, back-to-back strikeouts, Seymour struggling to get the final punch out.
Still yet to have a clean inning, Seymour. As the 2-2 once again is swung on and missed, and a fist pump there from Seymour. As we were seeing early that he holds himself to very high standards on the mound, been frustrated a couple times, but we are through 3. 1-1 our score here at Red Wilson Field. You're listening to Red Sox Baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. Bottom 3 here at Red Wilson Field, 8-9-1 for the Red Sox here in their half of the third. As Dalen Nanny, first pitch swinging, and drives a single into right, and the Red Sox have the leadoff runner on.
Good swing by Nanny. First time up this
From the University
time through for Nanny. First time up as a Red Sox. Gets the base knock. Clean swing, aggressive. First time of the order.
That'll bring up the 9-hole hitter, the shortstop, Willie Escala, out of Miami, one of a few Hurricanes playing in this game. Abbott out of the stretch. First pitch to Escala's down and away, and it's 1-0. It'll be interesting to see how the Red Sox respond to having the game tied. All the scoring in their first game against Cotuit was done in 2 innings, the 4th and the 7th. Red Sox will be looking for some more sustained offense in this one, as the 1-0 pitch is in there on the inner half for a called strike, 1-1. Both pitchers ready to work quickly. They get the ball back. They're toeing the rubber once again and ready to deliver the pitch. Nanny gets his lead. The 1-1 is in the dirt, and it's 2-1. Nine-hole hitter is Scala. And then we will flip the lineup over back to Wyatt Young, the second baseman out of Pepperdine. And the 2-1 is dribbled through the hole, and that'll be a base hit. And the Red Sox have their first 2 runners on in the inning.
Off the end of the bat from Escala, but he just muscles it through the left side, hooked a ball on the outer half through the left side of the infield. Didn't really hit it all that well, but sometimes we saw that last half inning ended up resulting in a run for Orleans after the bloop from Lewis. And now we'll see how YD tries to approach this. First and second, nobody out. Prime bunting opportunity, and we know Pick likes to play some small ball as he gives us signals down the third base line.
Yeah, small ball, something that proved to make a huge difference in the game yesterday against Cotuit, as Brian Roberts using the sacrifice bunt incredibly effectively throughout the game. Wyatt Young, and he squares but pulls it back and takes the first pitch down low, 1-0.
And Young's a guy that you would expect to be able to get one down. He's a leadoff guy, some good speed, top of the order. Figures to be able to handle the bat pretty well. At least that's kind of the prototype, right? Has some good speed, but he's just trying to get this one down, move it over before the big guy's in the middle.
Abbott checks the runner at second. Wyatt Young once again bluffs the bunt, but pulls it back, 2-0.
Now you never know with runners on base if you can maybe get ahead in the count, then maybe you can get Young to swing away. We'll see how aggressive they keep the bunt on here with him up 2-0.
And Abbott seems very focused on the runners on base right now, and you wonder if that affects some of his concentration, as the first 2 pitches haven't been close. And Wyatt Young swings and drives one into the gap in right center field. That'll score 1. Pick is going to hold Escala at third, as he thought about it. He was waiting for the last possible moment, and that's an RBI double for Wyatt Young.
Yeah, definitely probably smart to hold Escala. I think he probably could have scored as the relay was jumbled a bit by Orleans, but now the guy you've got up, Andrew Eister with runners on second and third, none down, still nobody out. Eister in his YD Red Sox career, a humble 3-for-3, 2 RBIs, and a run with a home run. So this is the guy YD wants up right now with 2 men in scoring position.
So exactly the response you want to see if you're Scott Pickler and company after giving up the tying run, and that's definitely something you want to see if you're Seymour on the mound and your team picking you up offensively after the game got tied, and YD and big business here looking for more. First pitch to Eister is down low for a ball, 1-0.
And you can't be too careful with Eister. I get there's a base open and he's a big hitter, but Jack Wold on deck has big-time power as well. Also a home run in this early season. So while there's the base open, I think you still got to be aggressive if you're Abbott.
First hit of the season for Young, that double, as Eister swings over the top of an off-speed pitch, 1-1. And this is a guy that I think all of us here on the broadcast team took note of very quickly upon seeing him in the cages working on a swing. He's got a very flat, very compact motion, really drives the ball, a lot of line drives in batting practice.
One of those guys, the ball just jumps off his bat differently.
The 1-1, fastball on the outer half, and it's 1-2 to Eister.
And he takes big swings, too. He is swinging really hard on every cut, and he makes solid contact as well on almost every swing. And it's just one of those guys that you see on almost every team. The ball jumps off the bat. It just sounds a little bit different. You know they have that power.
The 1-2 from Abbott on its way to Eister. He swings and flares it into right center field, and that one's going to drop, and Pickler will hold Wyatt Young at third, and then YD now has runners on the corners as the Scala scores, and it's 3-1.
So how long can Eister stay perfect at the plate? He's 4 for 4 now, and he's driven in a run in 3 of his 4 at-bats. That's a pretty good start to your Cape Cod League career. And again, Young got a great jump from second, probably could have scored, but with a runner on scoring position, less than 2 outs, and the meat of your order really up here with Eister just batting, Wold's a big hitter, Terada has power, and Austin Wells, maybe the most complete hitter in this lineup in the hole. You don't want to make any outs running the bases at this point if you're YD. Already 2 runs across. Everybody has a hit so far this inning, a potential for a big inning.
Quick conference on the mound for Orleans as they go over what they want to do with the first and third nobody out situation as Jack Wold waits in anticipation. So far, so good for the Red Sox in this inning. 3 up, 3 on base. 4. Still no outs in this inning as it's now 3-1 Red Sox. Andre Sims, Brian McLaughlin with you. Jack Wold steps into the box, batting from the left side, no batting gloves. Hit the first home run of the Cape League season yesterday against Katuitt, a shot into right field as he takes a fastball right down Main Street for a strike.
Now first and third, nobody outs. Be interesting to see if Pick starts Eister from first, trying to swipe second base and stay out of the double play with Wold, who elevates the ball really well, though.
Orleans very aware of that possibility as Abbott checks over on Eister with the quick pickoff throw.
Eister did not try 1 stolen base all year at South Carolina. 0 for 0. So he has a decent-sized lead, but we'll see if they start him.
The 0-1 is down and away, 1-1. First time for everything here on the Cape. Why not?
Why not? And you never know. You don't want to see if you're Orleans, you can't really risk trying to get that out to sacrifice potentially Wyatt Young scampering home from third.
Already a crooked number in this inning for the Red Sox, and they're looking for more with still nobody out as the 1-1 is on its way. Fastball in the top of the zone for a strike, 1-2.
Wold showing some patience at the plate, not going out over anything that he doesn't want early here.
Jack Wold, a UNLV product. The 1-2 swung on and fouled back. And we'll reset and do it again.
Nice breaking ball from Abbott up in the count. He just couldn't get it down low enough. Great job by Wold staying on it right around the knees to stay alive.
Abbott getting the sign. Comes set and looks to deliver the 1-2 once again. And once again, it's fouled back. Good battle here from Wold. The Orleans bullpen is beginning to stir as Chase Wallace is warming up for them in case this inning should get out of hand. The 1-2. Over the top of the breaking ball goes Wold, and he is down for the first out of the inning swinging. Still first and third for the Red Sox, though.
Yep. Abbott just went back to the breaking ball, finally gets the first out of the frame. Good battle, like you mentioned, from Wold, but Abbott finally got him with the hook just out in front.
That'll bring up the Dayton Flyer, Riley Terada, playing third today for the Red Sox. The first pitch to Terada's on its way, and it's low for a ball, 1-0.
Still looking for his first hit for the Red Sox. Flew out to center field earlier. A guy with a big frame. We've seen him play a fine third base so far today. I think there's a lot of power potential for Terada. We'll see if he's able to tap into it. He had a good year for Dayton this year.
Big athletic frame on Terada's. The 1-0 pitch is a breaking ball that misses outside, 2-0. An 0-for-4 day yesterday for Terada. But as you said, Brian, playing some fine defense early in this young Cape League season.
Yeah, he's really had a good day so far at third. Had one inning where he made all 3 plays, including a nice running throw.
Still first and third, 3-1 our score here. As Terada grounds one to the other third baseman in this lineup, and he will beat out the back end of the double play. So a fielder's choice and an RBI for Terada, and it's now 4-1 Red Sox.
Reaches base on the fielder's choice, but good hustle down the line from Terada, and he gets a run across because of it and extends the inning. Off the bat, you're thinking potential tailor-made double play, but Lewis had to double clutch just a bit around second base, allowing Terada, who showed some good speed down the line, to extend the inning.
And that'll bring up a guy whose name we've talked about a lot on this broadcast already, Austin Wells, the freshman from the University of Arizona. First pitch swinging, and that one's roped on the ground through the 5-hole of A.J. Lewis, and Terada will go first to third, and the inning will continue. Oh, he's actually coming all the way around to score. Double pump, and Terada's in there. Heads up base running there from Riley Terada, as the Orleans outfield was just slow to make that play. I think they just expected Terada to stop going first to third.
I'm not sure if Pick even sent Terada around the bases, but he ends up scoring. Aggressive base running, to say the least, is now Kelly Nicholson with the conversation around home plate with the home plate umpire. But Wells smoked that baseball. Lewis, you mentioned, he's listed as a catcher. Playing second base today, lets it through the 5-hole on a ball that was just absolutely scorched on the ground. Now there's going to be a conference with our two umpires left here, with Wells on first, and at the moment, Terada across the plate.
Then please come up to the press box.
So as it stands right now, that's an E4 in your scorebook. That ball was absolutely smoked off the bat of Wells and just couldn't be fielded cleanly.
It was hit so hard, but Lewis has to make that stop despite it's going to be an error. Despite how hard that's hit, with 2 outs in the inning, and as a second baseman, you have to think, just knock it down. I'm going to have the time to throw it to first. And that's one that Lewis might be playing a bit out of position. He's going to have to make that play, but sure enough, Terada comes around to score.
That makes the score 5-1 Red Sox. So you're still in the top of the bottom of the third inning, as we now see the center fielder Jeff Costello out of Northeastern. Costello grounded the short his first time up. He was one of those guys we mentioned in the open, came off the bench and made an instant impact with an RBI triple. Abbott from the stretch. Wells is on the move to second base, and that one into center field, and Wells had to check his slide there to avoid cleating A.J. Lewis at second. Good awareness there to then check his slide and hop over the second baseman and get in there safely as the ball dribbled into center field.
Acrobatic from Mr. Wells. Lewis, I think his feet slipped as he went to dive across and ended up just laying directly in front of second base. Wells planted his feet, hopped up in the air, and like a gymnast landed on the bag.
That's why they teach you the pop slide in Little League.
Yeah.
You got to learn these things. You never know when you're going to need them.
That's some strength, too, to be able to stop yourself, body control, showing off the athletic ability.
Austin Wells now sits at second base. The count 1-2 to Costello with an RBI chance. The 1-2 on its way, and Costello swings and fouls it away.
Just barely. That breaking ball has been the best pitch for Abbott this inning. Had Costello way out in front, was just barely able to get a piece and send it to the backstop.
Costello kept his hands back just long enough to be able to foul tip that. 1-2 once again, 2 outs in the inning. Abbott checks on Wells at second, and that one's dribbled foul once again. Austin Wells doing exactly what you should be doing with 2 outs at second base, getting a massive secondary lead.
He got into scoring position, and now he's putting himself in a good position to score. Outfield really shallow for Orleans. They're trying to cut it down on a single at home.
Haven't had a chance to see any of the arms from these outfielders. Austin Wells once again about halfway to third.
Nobody's holding him. That's a good job by him, and you don't want to make the third out at third base, so there's no sense in trying to steal it here. But as long as nobody's going to hold you on, go ahead and take that secondary so you can test the arms of these guys.
2-2 the count here, 2 down in the inning. Pitch is grounded to second base. This time Lewis makes the play cleanly over to first, and that'll end the inning. But not before the Red Sox put up a 4 spot and take commanding lead in this game. The score now 5-1. We head to the top of the 4th here at Red Wilson Field. You're listening to Red Sox Baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. Back here for the top of the fourth inning. Andre Sims, Brian McLaughlin with you. It's been an interesting one so far. We've seen a lot. We've seen great defense. We've seen some home runs, some small ball.
Yep.
Some heads-up base running, and unfortunately, an umpire getting hurt.
There has been a lot in 3 innings, but I think you have to look at this right now. If you're a YD fan, the offense is playing really well today.
First pitch from Seymour is inside and gets all the way to the backstop. And it's 1-0.
Seymour struggled a bit with command, but he's been able to work around it, fight back in counts. So I don't think he's as sharp as he would have liked, but you like the fight he's had out on the mound as well.
Still no action in the YD bullpen as the 1-0 is fouled back. Josh Zamora leading things off. Member of the Wolf Pack, University of Nevada. 5, 6, and 7 due up for Orleans. The 1-1 is upstairs, 2-1. And it feels, Brian, like the offense sort of is picking up from where they left off against Cotuit, which is a lot of quality at bats, a lot of hard hit balls. They just seem to be landing a bit more today.
Finding your way on base, and then they've gotten the big hits with runners in scoring position both nights. When they get guys in those positions, they've come through. Just last night, they weren't getting a lot of guys on base. They were struggling with that, and Cotuit's pitchers were dominating.
The 2-2 is swung on and misses. There's that changeup once again, and another strikeout for Seymour.
Yeah, he's got 6 of them now through 3 1/3, and that changeup's become more and more prominent the second time through the order for these guys. Just a different twist on it, and it's from the same arm slot as his fastball, and Orleans has struggled to pick it up.
Ray Gill now steps up, hit a hard line drive to Riley Terada at third base. His first time up. It's the first pitch from Seymour. It's a breaking ball that misses outside, and it's 1-0. The 1-0 on its way is swung on and driven hard into center field. Looking up Costello, and that one is well out of here. Ray Gill with an absolute shot to dead center. And it's 5-2.
Short center field here at Red Wilson, only about 352 to dead center. That ball might have gotten out even on a deeper ballpark. That ball was hammered to dead center field. A pretty swing by Gill, just staying on a pitch, middle away, going back up the middle with it, and up in the trees to dead center field. A no-doubter.
Yeah, Costello gave it the courtesy couple steps in center, but he knew it was gone off the bat. Plenty of offense in this one. It's 5-2 here in the top of the fourth. 1 down for Orleans.
Just kind of the reactionary couple steps in that direction before realizing, oh, that's way out of here.
So a souvenir for those fans sitting out just beyond the center field wall.
If they can find it in those woods.
1-0 the count now to Rob Emery. And he swings over the top of theirs. That changeup again, and it's 1-1. The 1-1 on its way is fouled off to the right-hand side, and it's 1-2. So once again, Seymour unable to get a 1-2-3 inning. We've yet to see it from him tonight.
Just kind of sprinkled things throughout each inning.
That one's sliced out of play down the right field line. 1-2. He's scattered some hits. Had some base runners, like we said, dealt with some command issues, but has been able to limit the damage, only allowing 1 run in the third, and now the solo shot here in the fourth. As that one's driven to Young at second base. He's unable to play the hop, and that one will be interesting to see how it's scored. Probably going to be an error as it went off the glove of Young, and there again, similar to Lewis, it's one of those plays where you should make it even regardless of how hard it's hit.
Yeah, it was an interesting short hop for Young as he tried to kind of swipe up with the ball, got a piece of it with the glove, and launched it up in the air on the short hop. Tough play for Young, tough one to score, I would agree, as it was pretty sharply hit and not a routine play, but I could see how you could make the argument that that's an error.
It was indeed scored an error, and it's also worth noting that the sun is setting in that direction in the eyes of second base, first base, and right. Check swing and foul off the bat of Zach Daniels, the Tennessee Volunteer. And it's 0-1. Daniel's a guy that we were talking about before the broadcast started that you saw in the Northwoods League last season.
Yeah, he was with the Kalamazoo Growlers, the team I broadcasted for last summer, and just a raw athlete with a ton of power. Bottom of the order today, but he's a potential middle of the order bat with a lot of upside.
The 0-1. Breaking ball. It drops in there for a strike on the outer half, and it's 0-2.
He's one of those guys that you just see when we talked about that a little bit with Eister. When you hear the ball hit his bat, it's a little bit different. And sometimes Daniel struggles with making contact. He can be a high strikeout guy, but it is a loud sound.
Fastball high and away, and it's 1-2.
He won the Northwoods League Home Run Derby last year, and it's just one of those things where when he makes contact, he has hit some of the farthest home runs I've ever seen when he turns on a pitch and launches it to left field. But again, he's a pretty good strikeout candidate if you can get ahead of him like Seymour is here.
Fouled straight back, and it's 1-2. Daniels went 5-3 in his first at-bat to end the second inning, and that was that impressive play from Terada at third, rounding the bag.
Yep.
One down here in the inning. 1-2 the count to Daniels. 5-2 our score here at Red Wilson Field. Seymour out of the stretch. He'll check on the runner, then step back on the mound.
And what Seymour's done a good job of today, as we talked about, he hasn't had that 1-2-3 inning, but he's limited the big innings. We haven't seen a multi-run inning yet for Orleans. So these next couple batters are huge to try to keep YD's lead at least up to 2 or 3.
The 1-2 is in the dirt. Good block there from Bajani, and it's 2-2. Orleans yet to put up a crooked number in this game. Put up a crooked number yesterday, and it was the only run scored as they won 2-0 in their opener. Seymour once again out of the stretch, delivers, and that one's flared and into the Orleans dugout.
I think somebody caught it. Not sure who, but there was a barehanded catch made over in that Orleans dugout.
Impressive. I was never one in my playing days to try to snag a bare hand.
That one wasn't exactly smoked over there, though. Daniels was out in front, just kind of lofted it towards that dugout. But, yeah, that can be painful.
2-2. Once again, Seymour delivers and swung on and missed as he blew the fastball by him upstairs, and that's the second out of the inning.
He is really starting to pick up the strikeouts. That's 5 straight outs via a strikeout from Seymour on the mound. Haven't seen a play by a Whitey fielder all the way back since the second.
So now 2 down here in the inning. Seymour looking to limit the damage to just the solo home run. David Avitia up at bat takes the first pitch for a strike, and he was, of course, was up at bat, and it was the foul tip off of his bat that injured the hand of home plate umpire Tim Carey. We wish him all the best.
Yep.
The 0-1 swung on and fouled straight back, and it's 0-2.
And he's the one who kind of started this strikeout streak from Seymour. After that long break, it was then a fastball up, maybe out of the strike zone, that Seymour blew by him, and since then he's been locked in with the strikeouts despite giving up 2 runs.
0-2, 2 down in the inning. Seymour looking to finish off the frame, and he does with the high fastball. Got him to chase, and that's a third straight strikeout as he strikes out the side for a second consecutive inning. 8 strikeouts on the day for Seymour through 4. Our score is 5-2. You're listening to Whitey Red Sox Baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network.
Throughout Cape Cod, the islands, and some
7, 8, and 9 due up for the Red Sox in their half of the fourth inning as Andrew Abbott's day is done.
For YD,
Orleans opts to go to the bullpen, and the new pitcher is Chase Wallace out of the University of Tennessee.
for Johnny.
Wallace, a 6'2", 195-pound righty, junior, and his first pitch is kind of half swing. And yes, he did. It's 0-1. Bijani, Dalen Nanny, and Willie Escala due up. Bijani grounded out to second his first time up, and it's now 0-2. The 0-2 is on its way. And grounded on the right side. A good play from Rob Emery at first, and that'll be the first out of the inning. So exactly the start you want if you're Chase Wallace on the mound, getting the first quick out, and especially after the 4-run inning that the Red Sox put up in the last inning, it's good to get the first out.
Yeah, and it's always important for these relievers to try to work quick innings. If you're now Orleans already going to the bullpen here in the fourth, playing from behind especially, and you know your guy as a starter maybe didn't go as deep as you would have wanted to, but at the same time now you got to keep it tight for your offense to try to come back.
First pitch to Nanny is a called strike, 0-1. Dalen Nanny out of Western Carolina got the big third inning started. First pitch swinging, he delivered a single into right field. And second pitch swinging, a dribbler to short, and a great play by Josh Zamora to gun him at first. 2 down.
That's a strong close from Zamora. We've seen him do that now a couple times, come in on the baseball and quickly throw off that right foot or the wrong foot as a shortstop, and it's on the money. Nanny busted it out of the box but couldn't quite beat it to first. Strong play by Zamora for sure. 2 quick outs from Wallace on the mound.
So that'll bring up the 9-hole hitter, Willie Escala. Hurricane. And the first pitch from Wallace is at the top of the zone for a strike, 0-1.
Wallace only made 9 appearances this year for Tennessee, so definitely a candidate to go multiple innings here potentially. He has plenty of juice left in the tank, I'd say, after not being used that often at Tennessee.
And on top of that, that makes him a bit of a relative unknown to these guys. Not a ton of tape, not a lot of information to go off of as far as what his stuff is. So a bit of a wild card out of the bullpen for Kelly Nicholson and company. The 1-1 on its way, and it's slung out of that high 3/4 release across the zone and down and low.
But he was a high-ranked recruit, and that's why he's back here on the Cape. Despite being one of those guys that didn't throw a lot or didn't have a ton of success this past year, you know he's got good stuff, and he's got some good velo.
The 2-1 is swung on and missed, and that'll even the count at 2-2. Wallace, like Abbott before him and like Seymour, working very quickly on the mound. And the 2-2's on its way and swung on and misses as Escala swings over the top of the breaking ball. So a 1-2-3 inning after the 4-run inning. And we are through 4 complete here at Red Wilson Field. The score still remains 5-2. We'll be right back on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network.
Back at Red Wilson Fields, top of the fifth. YD on top, 5-2 over the Orleans Firebirds. Opening day here at Red Wilson. YD looking to win their home opener and get back to 500 on the season. Top of the lineup due up for Orleans here in the fifth. Jordan Lala swings past the first pitch fastball from Ian Seymour on the mound for YD. YD's starter still going strong here in the fifth.
It's been a bit of an up and down game for Seymour early on. Has scattered some hits, given up the home run, 2 earned on the day, but been able to limit the damage. Could have been a lot worse for him.
Swing and a miss on the 0-1 fastball, and now Lala down 0-2. Here's the 0-2 from Seymour. Fastball above the letters, ball 1. A ball and 2 strikes.
And on the flip side of giving up those 2 runs, a lot of contact, 6 straight strikeouts for the lefty.
Missing a lot of bats. The 1-2 to Lala. Fastball called, strike 3 on the outer edge. 7 straight set down with a strikeout for Ian Seymour. That's 3 straight batters with a strikeout. He is really missing a lot of bats today as there's 1 down now in the fifth.
From Eastern Kentucky University, A.J. Lewis.
9 total Ks for Seymour on the mound today, as with 1 out now, it's A.J. Lewis. First pitch, line drive at the shortstop Escala. He rounds it a bit to his right and makes the squeeze. It's the first out in almost a whole time through the lineup. That wasn't a strikeout, but a soft contact as Lewis was jammed for a quick 2 now in the top of the fifth.
And of those 9 strikeouts, just 1 is looking, so truly missing a lot of bats. Orleans really unable to time up his off speed, especially his changeup, which has been working really well today.
Bases clear, 2 down for Max Troiani. First pitch to him, lifted in the air, shallow right center. Outgoing Wyatt Young. Eister coming, charging in, and nobody's going to get there. Eister picks it up on a hop. Young took a poor angle, had to kind of round it out towards right center. And Eister was playing deep in right, could not close and make the catch. So another seeing eye hit as a 1-2-3 inning still evades Seymour out on the mound.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Looked as though Wyatt Young lost it in the sun a little bit, got a little turned around. As you see, he started over one shoulder, and when you're tracking back on a fly ball, you never want to start over one shoulder and then have to adjust and go over the other. And so as soon as that happened, it looked as though that ball was going to get down.
Zach Kokoska with 2 outs now for Orleans. Swing and a miss on a first pitch down low from Seymour. Whitey on top, 5-2, top of the fifth. Man on first with 2 outs for Orleans. Kokoska has struck out twice today, looking in the first, swinging in the third. Check on first base from Seymour, back in plenty of time is Troiani. Shadows might be starting to play a factor here at Red Wilson, as the sun is setting over behind us down the third baseline. The outline of some trees starting to creep over both the mound and the batter's box. Seymour hasn't picked off. Throw to first. Wolves relay to second. They're in plenty of time to get the slide from Max Troiani. Third man picked off in 2 games by this YD defense. They end up going in order in the fifth for Orleans. 1 man reached. He wasn't left. It was 1 hit, no runs for Orleans. YD on top. 5-2 through 4.5. We'll be back in the bottom of the fifth on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. 5-2 YD, bottom of the 5th at Red Wilson Field. Young, Eister, and Wolds, top of the YD lineup, due up here in the bottom of the 5th. As we move through tonight's action, thank you to all of our corporate sponsors, as well as Milton Cat, one of the sponsors to our opening day action here at Red Wilson. Chase Wilson back out on the mound for Orleans to begin this 5th. Starts with a pitch that Young swings through. 0-1 now to Young, the middle infielder from Pepperdine. Young 1 for 2 today. Doubled and scored in the 3rd, part of a 4-run 3rd for YD. The 0-1. Off the plate inside to Young. YD on top, 5-2 here in the bottom of the 5th. They got on the board first in the bottom of the 1st in a solo shot from Andrew Eister. He's on deck. And then they scored 4 times in the 3rd. The 1-1. Young softly back up the middle, past pitcher, fielded by Lewis, throw to first, not in time. Young beats it out. Lewis took a while charging to get that, and Young, lots of speed down that line with an infield hit, his 2nd today.
Yeah, starting to become a little bit of a rough day at second base for A.J. Lewis. They're again listed as a catcher, playing out of position, but the error now taking too long to make that throw. And we've seen this sort of nonchalant sort of vibe coming from this Orleans defense, and it cost them a run in the 3rd, and now leadoff runner on simply because Lewis took a little too long to make the throw.
Man on first, none down for Andrew Eister. I think you're right. It seemed like he just thought he had more time than he did. Eister 2 for 2 today. First time seeing Wallace. Rips the first pitch down the left field line. Daniels over chasing it into the corner. Young a hard turnaround second, motoring for 3rd. He'll slide in safely, and Eister motors for 2nd. Still perfect at the plate. 5 for 5 as a YD Red Sox. Adds a double to his resume. 3 for 3 today.
At this point, I'm convinced he's going to hit 1,000 for the season. There's just no reason to think otherwise. It's an impressive approach. We've seen him now go to the opposite field, up the middle, down the left field line. It is just an impressive all-around approach from Andrew Eister that we've seen in these 2 days.
5 for 5. He had a solo home run today, an RBI single in the 3rd, a triple away from the cycle with 4 innings left today. Now Jack Wold with runners on 2nd and 3rd, nobody out, bottom 5. Wallace worked a clean 1-2-3 inning last half of the 4th. First pitch off speed. Wald swings out in front. Comes up empty. 0-1.
And interesting to note on that last at-bat, Young bluffed the steal attempt, and you wonder, with his speed, had he gone, if Pickler would have potentially sent him.
Got to 3rd easily. Now the 0-1. Swing and a miss. Wold out in front to get on a changeup. A steady diet of off speed for Jack Wold today. 0 for 2. A pop out and a strikeout in the 3rd.
That's the best way to neutralize a power hitter, especially from the left side. Get him to fly the front side, bring the hands through early, and swing over the top of an off-speed pitch.
Now the 0-2. Breaking ball misses inside for ball 1. Daniels really shallow in left. Wind softly blowing from left to right here at Red Wilson. Pretty shallow all across the outfield, in fact, for the big hitting Jack Wold. The 1-2. Swing and a miss. Got him on the changeup. 2nd strikeout today for Wold. 2nd strikeout for Wallace on the mound as well. Now with 1 down, Riley Terada still met on 2nd and 3rd.
From the University of Dayton, Riley Terada.
Terada, of course, with the very heads-up base running as part of that 4-run 3rd inning. Went all the way from first to home on a ground ball that just got through the legs of A.J. Lewis at second base.
Infield halfway up for Orleans. Terada chops the first one, 3rd base line, scooped up but foul. Gill rounded it, but picked it up maybe 6 inches wide of the chalk in front of the 3rd base bag. Young looked like he would have scored. Gill would have had to go to first. But now falling behind in the count, 0-1 is Terada.
And with Terada's speed, potentially would have beat that out at first as well. We saw him beat out the back end of a fielder's choice.
Now the infield comes fully up for Orleans, looking to cut down the run at the plate. Whitey leads by 3 here in the bottom of the 5th. Terada just trying to get it through the infield. Here's the 0-1. Breaking ball way outside. A nice stab by Avidia to keep it in front. Outfield remains pretty shallow for Terada. As the righty Wallace comes set at the chest. The 1-1. This is down and away again to Terada. 2 balls and a strike. Shadows definitely starting to play an impact as they have completely engulfed the mound. Wallace's bright red Orleans cap still highlighted in the sun, but definitely spotted around home plate as the sun tries to peek through the trees, but bits of sun throughout the line from the pitcher's mound to home. The 2-1. Fouled back by Terada, and it's even. 2 balls, 2 strikes. 1 down here in the bottom of the 5th. Young on 3rd. Eister on 2nd. YD looking for their first win of this 2019 season. Wallace set. Here's the 2-2. Swing and a miss. Back-to-back strikeouts. The slider gets Terada swinging out over the top of home plate, and after such a promising start for YD in the 5th, it's up to Austin Wells.
For the first time tonight, the Red Sox bullpen is beginning to stir as Jacob Winger, the junior out of High Point, North Carolina, begins to throw.
Wells at the plate, looking to get things done with 2 outs. First pitch, checks his swing, misses down low. The appeal to the umpire behind second base. He says he did not go. Now, normally 3 umpires in the Cape Cod Baseball League, but we're down to 2 today after a foul tip caught our home plate umpire Tim Carey in the hand. He had to leave the ball game. The 1-0. Wells takes up and away. 2 balls, no strikes. And we talked about it, Andre. That's one of the plays where 2 umpires really is an impact versus 3. You might have a better look at that down the line versus behind the mound near second base.
And an interesting wrinkle now, having a different home plate umpire is now having to adjust to a different strike zone. We're now through the order 2nd, 3rd time. You get used to things being called one way, and now you're dealing with a different strike zone on the mound or in the batter's box. That can change your approach.
Wells fouls the 2-0 out of play. Now it's 2 balls, 1 strike. Wells still hitless with YD. Here's the 2-1. Off the plate inside, he spins out of the way. Now 3 balls and a strike. 0 for 2, 2 walks yesterday for Wells. He has a strikeout, and he did reach on an error as well as steal a base back in the 4-run 3rd for YD. But yet to get a hit, despite really barreling that ball. It found its way through Lewis's legs. Wallace comes set. Here's the 3-1. High and away, ball 4. Wells will draw the 2-out walk and load the bases now for Jeff Costello.
There's that disciplined approach again that we've talked about from Wells already. That is his 3rd walk in just 2 games here on the Cape.
Costello.
Do you think with an open base there, Wallace, knowing the reputation of Wells as such a good hitter, maybe worked around as well as the lefty-righty matchup? Now he's got righty-righty as he's facing the right-handed hitting Costello. Bases juiced, 2 down, bottom 5. The first pitch to Costello misses down and away, ball 1, and that's going to cause a visit. David Avitia will head out to the mound to talk to Wallace after walking Wells. Nowhere to put Jeff Costello.
It was a very efficient start to Wallace's night.
Yeah.
Quick 1, 2, 3, and then 2 quick outs here in the start of this inning. But now finds himself into trouble with the bases loaded.
Open stance for Costello. 0 for 2 today. Wallace brings the 1-0. Chopped foul by Costello. Back behind home plate. A ball and a strike. Things started promising for YD here in the 5th. The leadoff single from Wyatt Young. A double for Andrew Eister. Put runners on 2nd and 3rd with none down to back-to-back Ks. Got 2 outs. The 1-1. Down low and away. 2 balls and a strike to Costello. Following the 2 swinging strikeouts, Austin Wells was able to work a 2-out walk. And now it's Costello. The 2-1. Costello lifts it in the air down the right field line, overlooking at it Kikoska, and it's out of play. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Should Costello extend the inning, Eric Bijani is on deck for YD. Now the 2-2. Swing and a miss. YD leaves them loaded in the fifth. 3 strikeouts in the frame for Wallace. Scoreless frame for YD despite 2 hits. They leave 3, no errors for Orleans. 5-2 YD through 5. 6th inning. Coming up next on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. Top 6, YD 5, Orleans 2. To the bullpen for YD, Ian Seymour. Day is done. Next up, Jacob Winger. Out of the pen, final line for Seymour. 5 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, both earned. He only walked 1 and struck out 9. A fine opening day for Seymour. First pitch for Winger, skied backwards and out of play by Zach Kokoska, and it's 0-1. But exactly what the doctor ordered for YD and Seymour. He limited the damage and just had an effective outing. And only 1 walk to 9 Ks. Can't argue with that.
And that's what we talked about in the open. It's a high strikeout, good command guy.
The 1-0-1 line to left and a leadoff single for Kokoska here in the 6th. He struck out twice today, so he's happy to see someone other than Seymour out on the mound and leads things off against Winger with a single.
And we did talk about Seymour's struggle with command a little bit, a handful of 3-ball counts in this one, but what matters is the 3-ball counts didn't become 4-ball counts, only 1 walk on the day. So sure, you don't like to see a lot of 3-ball counts, especially when he fell behind 3-0 to a couple hitters, especially early on in this one, but settled in nicely, and the 9 strikeouts in 5 innings speak for themselves.
Now we get to see Winger. Man on first, nobody out. Josh Zamora at the plate. A first pitch breaking ball is a called strike to Zamora. He's 0 for 2 today. Winger, 6'5", 210 pounds. Just finished his sophomore year at High Point, where he posted a 3.81 ERA in 16 games out of the pen. From the stretch, the 0-1. Called strike on the inner half to the righty Zamora. And Winger quickly ahead 0-2. Ray Gill on deck for Orleans, accounting for 1 of their 2 runs today with a solo shot off Seymour in the 4th. Winger, the set, the 0-2. Grounder right at the shortstop Escala. Up with it, flip to Young. Young's relay to first in time. 6-4-3 double play. And just like that, 2 down, nobody on for YD here in the 6th.
Third baseman.
Taylor-made double play right there. Escala with the clean throw over. Good transfer from Young at second to get the strong throw across the diamond to Wold at first, and then that quickly erases the leadoff single.
Can't draw it up better if you're Jacob Winger on the mound. Right at Escala. Now with 2 down, and base is empty for Ray Gill. Big cut and a miss on a first pitch fastball around the letters. Went after the hard heat from Winger.
That is one thing we've seen a lot of from this Orleans lineup is chasing the fastball up.
Yeah.
We saw Seymour get a lot of strikeouts that way, and now Ray Gill chasing once again.
This time lays off the fastball around the eyes. A ball and a strike. 5-2 YD, top 6 here at Red Wilson Field in this home opener for the Red Sox. More action in both bullpens at the moment. So we might see some replacements following this half inning. Here's the 1-1 to Gill. Another swing and a miss on a fastball down the middle, but up in the zone. A ball and 2 strikes now to Gill.
Man, that high fastball just looks so good, especially to a power hitter. It looks like it's coming in belt high, but it's actually at the letters, and it's almost impossible to get on top of that baseball.
Winger comes set. Here's the 1-2. Swing and a miss. Gill slips and falls down, and Winger works through a clean 6th. There was 1 hit, no runs, but a double play. No errors and none left on base for Orleans in the 6th. YD 5, Orleans 2. To the bottom of the 6th we go here on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. Bottom of the 6th, YD 5, Orleans 2. In this home opener for YD, new arm out on the mound for Orleans. The righty Cameron Fields delivers a first pitch to Eric Bijani. He fouls it off his own foot for strike 1. Final line for Chase Wallace. He went 2 innings, gave up 2 hits, no runs allowed on 1 walk and 4 strikeouts, including striking out the side back in the 5th. The 0-1 slider swing and a miss from Bijani, and he finds himself quickly in a deep hole 0-2.
Chase Wallace, or excuse me, not Chase Wallace. New pitcher Cameron Fields saw some time both out of the Texas bullpen and in the outfield for the Longhorns.
The 0-2 line to left, 1 hops to Daniels in left field from Bijani, and he gets his first hit as a Red Sox, and on first with 1 down in the 6th.
On the mound, Fields had finished the year with 4.26 ERA in 25 1/3 innings. 1-2 record, did have 3 saves out of the Longhorn bullpen, 36 strikeouts against 16 walks.
Leadoff single allowed here in the 6th, however, from Fields. First pitch to Dalen Nanny, line to center field, oncoming Lala, and that will also get down. Another one hopper to the outfield and back-to-back singles start it for YD here in the 6th. Now the bottom of the order, the 9-man up for YD, Willie Escala. First and second, no outs, Andre. Do you think Pick puts on the sacrifice bunt here?
Potentially, you can turn the lineup over. The top half of this lineup's had a lot of success in this game, although, with that being said, Willie Escala does have a single in his own right in this one, but I would not be surprised if they put on the sacrifice here.
Third baseman Gill in on the grass for Orleans. Escala squares. First pitch gets away from Avitia. Both runners move up 90 feet, and that does the purpose of the sacrifice without sacrificing it out. As it gets past Avitia to the backstop. Now second and third, no outs for YD. But Andre, they found themselves in this position last half inning as well and came up empty with no runs scored after 3 strikeouts from Wallace.
This is true. You never want to get second and third with nobody out and not be able to score. And that's the third time in this game that YD has had the leadoff runner on. Only once did they score, and that was in the 4-run third. So if you're Escala here, you're looking to put something in play to get a run across.
He puts it in play. Line drive up the middle on a hop to Lala in center. First run scores easily in Bijani. Nani will stop at third. Still nobody out. 3 straight singles from the bottom of the YD lineup. They now lead at 6-2.
And we talked about it earlier in this one, Brian, the quality and the depth of these Cape League lineups to where 7, 8, and 9 aren't slouches. Plenty of offensive firepower in this Red Sox lineup, top to bottom, and it's showing in this game.
Yeah, both Nani in the 8-hole, Escala in the 9-hole have 2 hits today. Bijani now a hit and a run in the 7 spot as well. So they have really helped this top of the order that's been so hot, including now the man at the plate, Wyatt Young, 2 for 3, a double and an RBI for Young today. Runners on first and third. Fields sets and delivers. It's a first pitch fastball strike to Young. YD on top, 6-2 here in the bottom of the 6th. Young, the middle infielder from Pepperdine, just finished his freshman year, where he led Pepperdine in hitting. Quick check on first by Fields, but Escala back with a head first slide. While there's again a base open here for Young, with runners on first and third, Fields does not want to face the man on deck with men in scoring position, Andrew Eister. The 0-1, squaring to bunt was Young, but it gets away from Avitia. Nanny will cross home plate easily. A wide turnaround second from Escala, but he'll slam on the brakes and return to second.
It looked like that ball might have caught Young on the foot there, but in which case Nanny would not be allowed to score, but that looks like what the umpires are going to be talking about right now, because Young quickly turned around and said, hey, that got me on the foot.
They're going to award him first base, so Nanny's going to have to return to third. Escala stays at second. But you wonder if that was just the initial reaction from Young trying to draw on base, not realizing that it snuck by Avitia. But this is the spot YD wants, so they would have taken the run. You also have to think the man at the plate is Mr. Unstoppable, Andrew Eister. 5 for 5 in his YD career, 3 for 3 today. He's a triple shy of the cycle, and he's got him loaded with nobody down here in the 6th.
Now, you couldn't have drawn it up much better if you're YD for who you wanted up in the situation and the situation itself. Bases loaded, nobody out. With Andrew Eister coming up, the South Carolina star, making a name for himself early in this Cape League season.
Why did that guy get on first?
Eister just finished up his sophomore year at South Carolina after starting at a junior college in his collegiate career. Has absolutely raked at every level he's been at, and continuing that here at the highest level of collegiate baseball on Cape Cod. Cameron Fields on the mound. He'll work from the stretch with them loaded. Whitey on top, 6-2. Nobody out in the 6th. The first pitch to Eister. Downstairs, ball 1. Eister doesn't have a typical swing either, Andre. He starts with a really open stance with his shoulders almost square to the pitcher on the mound, in this case Fields, before closing that stance, loading up, and taking a monster hack.
Yeah, it's one of those, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, and it is clearly not broken.
The 1-0. Big cut and a miss from Eister. Stumbled out over the plate. A ball and a strike.
Yeah, you can tell he's seeing the ball well, and he knows he's seeing the ball well, looking to make even more of an impact than he already has in this one. 2 RBIs on the day, 3 for 3.
Young on first, Escala on second, Nanny on third. 1-1 count to Eister. The pitch down low, skips by Avitia again. Nanny will score. Escala advances up to third, and Young follows to second. 2 runs now across for Whitey in the frame. Still nobody down. Opening things up in the 6th. Now up by 5, 7-2 over Orleans.
It's been a rough day fielding and behind the plate for Avitia. A couple errors in this one for Orleans and a couple pass balls that have proved costly in this one.
Fields comes set, 2-1 to Eister. He delivers. Swing and a miss from Eister over the top of an inside fastball. 2 balls, 2 strikes now to the big hitting right fielder for YD. Infield now drawn in for Orleans. Outfield straight away, maybe a step shallow. Runners on second and third, the 2-2. Swing and a miss, ball in the dirt. Avitia will scoop it up and tag Eister. Retired for the first time in his Whitey Red Sox career, and now there's 1 down in the 6th.
Well, Brian, turns out he's human.
Yeah, I'm shocked, actually.
Truly.
Baseman from the University of Nevada.
But no rest for the weary with the man coming up.
Talk about protection. Jack Wold, who has a solo shot in his career so far for Whitey yesterday, struggled a bit at the plate today, 0 for 3, but seeing Fields for the first time. First pitch chopped off of Wold, foul ball, and he's down in the count 0-1. That's the type of lineup you want to create if you're Scott Pickler. The bottom of the order getting on. Wyatt Young has been setting the table at the top. Now he's got his big hitters in the middle here with Eister and Wold. The 0-1. Again, fouled off by Wold. It's 0-2.
Yeah, and I think the word I would use to describe this lineup, Brian, is balanced. There is a lot of talent top to bottom, and Willie Escala almost feels like a second leadoff hitter in the 9-hole, a table setter type, high contact, getting on base, wreaking havoc that way. And so it doesn't really matter where you are in the order, you can feel confident offensively.
The 0-2, hit in the air, pretty deep left center field. Going back on, it's Lala. He circles around, he'll have room and make the catch. But Escala tags, he'll try to score and stand up as he crosses home plate. A sac fly for Jack Wold drives home the 3rd run of the frame for YD, and they're up 8-2.
It's a productive out from Jack Wold. We talked about his ability to drive balls in the air. You just needed to get it deep enough to score the run. Runner on third, less than 2 outs. You want to bring that run home. Jack Wold did just that.
Now Terada with 2 down. Young had to stay put on second as the throw from Lala went in towards Gill at third. 3 runs across for Whitey in this frame. They scored 1 in the first before Orleans answered with 1 in the third, but then Whitey dropped a 4 spot in the bottom of the 3rd. First pitch misses up high to Terada for ball 1. Following that 4-run 3rd for YD, Orleans tried to cut the deficit, and they got 1 back in the 4th. We've been scoreless at 5-2 since then until this 3-spot and counting for YD now in the bottom of the 6th. Fields brings the 1-0. Swing and a miss for Terada. A breaking ball down and away evens the count 1-1.
And this is something I think that the Whitey offense was missing a little bit yesterday against Cotuit, was the ability to put together a long inning. Yeah, they put up a crooked number in the 7th inning yesterday, but the long extended sending 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 guys to the plate was something that they were missing offensively yesterday.
Terada cuts on the 1-1 and misses again. Now down in the count 1-2. Terada hitless today. He reached on a fielder's choice and scored back in the 3rd. Struck out swinging back in the 5th. Fields from the stretch. Big Young lead for Young at second. Here's the pitch. Terada takes off the plate inside. 2 balls, 2 strikes. After such a great day for Orleans pitching yesterday with a shutout victory, 9 strikeouts, just 1 walk. They've allowed 8 so far today. Terada takes the 2-2 downstairs, and it's full with 2 down now in the 6th. Only one YD walk. There was a hit by pitch, but they have scattered the outfield with baseballs. 10 hits today for YD. The 3-2. Terada chops it foul, stays alive. And we'll see another 3-2 pitch from Fields. YD bullpen quiet now that they've opened up this lead. Probably see Jacob Winger again back out for the 7th.
Wyatt Young with great speed out there on second base. Anything through the infield, he's likely to score.
The 3-2. He was running. It's ball 4. Throw to third. Close play. Not in time. Young takes the third base on a 3-2 pitch. Almost got Avitia napping a bit as it was 3 balls, 2 strikes. Tried to frame the pitch, but it was downstairs. So Terada on first. Young to third with his first stolen base for YD. And now with 2 down, we'll see Austin Wells.
Yeah, it's almost the forgotten play on a 3-2 two-out pitch when it's a walk. That when the runners are in motion, they're still in motion. Very much fair game, very much in play. Very easily can be thrown out. And we saw that split second of hesitation behind the plate from Avidia, and that was the difference.
Wells bats from the left side. First pitch he sees from Fields. Skied, left side of the infield. Gill near the foul line. He's there, and he'll make the catch still on the dirt. YD scores 3 times in the 6th. They open up their lead 8-2 on 3 hits. They leave 2 men stranded. There were no Orleans errors. 8-2, YD through 6. We'll be back on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. Top of the 7th. YD leads 8-2 in their home opener over Orleans. Bottom of the lineup coming up for the Firebirds. Emery, Daniels, Avitia due up against Jacob Winger, out for his 2nd inning of work for YD. He allowed 1 hit in the 6th, but after a double play and a strikeout, was able to retire the side. First pitch tapped on the first base line. Jack Wold slides, gloves, and he'll take the jaunt to the first base bag and step on it to retire Emery on 1 pitch here in the 7th. After a tough loss last night for YD, Andre, you have to feel like they have to gain some confidence from what the bats are doing today and the way the pitchers have been able to battle around some tricky situations.
Absolutely. I mean, this is the type of response that you want to see out of a team, especially in a young Cape League season where confidence is everything. This is a league that can very quickly humble some people, and to be able to bounce back in the way that they have is very impressive.
First pitch called strike on the inner half to Zach Daniels. We mentioned it yesterday, TJ and I, on the broadcast. Any given day in baseball, you never know what's going to happen. So just 2 games into the season, it's hard to make judgments. 0-1, line drive over the head of Wold into shallow right field, off the end of the bat of Daniels, and he'll slam on the brakes rounding first with his first hit for the Firebirds today, and there's a man aboard with 1 down. But there's oftentimes a lot of overreactions early in the season. But at the same time, 44 games is not all that long of a season, and you want to get out on the right foot.
Absolutely. And no one, I mean, any way you slice it, any level, no one wants to start the season off with a loss, and especially not consecutive losses. And so it's good to just get themselves into the win column, have a bounce back performance like this. And so with the offense coupled with the pitching, you're getting an idea of what this team is capable of, especially offensively. Scott Pickler has to be able to look at this game and see, okay, I have a lot of depth on offense. There's a lot of talent on this team. And considering some of this lineup are temp players as well, guys like Wyatt Young with 2 hits today, setting the table at the top of the order.
Avitia, slow roller up the first base line. Winger tries to slam on the tag, misses. He'll toss to Wold at first and is able to retire Avitia. A dangerous play for Winger, but he's able to retire the catcher for Orleans. Daniels advances to second base, but no further. And now he's in scoring position with 2 down in the top of the lineup for Orleans.
Yeah, swinging bunt there off the bat of Avitia. He went for the tag there, but was unable to get it. It was a bang-bang sort of play. It was just a step past him, but good awareness there to quickly gather, realize he didn't make the tag, and make the throw.
Able to get the out, and now 2 down for Jordan Lala. The center fielder is 0 for 3 with a couple of Ks for Orleans today, looking to cut the 6-run deficit. First pitch breaking ball catches the outer edge. Bijani didn't quite squeeze it, but he caught the outer side of home plate. First strike 1 to Lala. Lala from the University of Miami, teammates with Willie Escala out at shortstop for YD. The 0-1. Swing and a miss, way out in front of the breaking ball from Winger, and he's in command, up 0-2. (0-2) count to Lala. Winger sets just above the belt. Checks Daniels at second. Escala holds him there. To the plate. Fastball just off the plate away. Hit the glove of Bijani, but he's set up outside.
Yeah, that's one of those by design. See if you can either A, trick the umpire into a strike, so to speak, by realizing that he split the knees of the catcher, but also seeing if you can get the hitter to chase there a good waste pitch.
A ball and 2 strikes to Lala. Winger will step off the mound. YD Orleans, one of just 2 Cape League games going on today. Everybody else got rained out. Katuitt and Chatham are tied at 4 in the top of the 7th. The 1-2, swing and a miss from Lala. Winger with his second strikeout of the day leaves Daniels stranded at second. Orleans did not score. They did get 1 hit. They leave 1 man aboard. It's stretch time at Red Wilson Field. YD 8, Orleans 2. We'll be back in the bottom of the 7th on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network.
Brendan Hewitt.
Back here for the bottom of the 7th inning. 8-2 now our score. Red Sox on cruise control right now in the latter stages of this game as we have a new pitcher for the Firebirds. And the new arm on the mound is the righty Michael Hobbs out of St. Mary's College in Moraga, California. Swinging away is Jeff Costello, the junior from Northeastern, center fielder. 0 for 3 on the day, struck out his last time through, and it's 0-2. Costello, Bajani, and Nanny due up for the Red Sox in this one as the 0-2 is inside, brushes back Costello, and it's 1-2. 1 run in the first, 4 runs in the third, and 3 runs in the sixth. They're how we got to this point for the Red Sox. Costello rolls over and chops one to first. Emery will take it to the bag, and that's the first out of the inning.
Good start for Hobbs out on the mound. Was able to work the ball inside and get the rollover and the first out of the frame.
Hobbs, a 6'2", 218-pound junior from Corona, California, in Southern California, the greater LA area. And Bajani, the catcher, steps in. First pitch swinging, and he fouls it back and out of play, and 0-1. One for 3 on the day for Bajani. A single in his last time up and scored a run in the 3-run 6th inning. He led off that inning with the single, came around. Foul tipped off the hand of Avitia, and that's the second time someone's gotten caught on a foul ball in this game.
Not quite as painful this time, however, as it was for Tim Carey earlier. He's able to shake that one off, didn't catch it quite as square, and he'll be able to continue.
0-2 the count now to Bajani. As he steps back in. And Hobbs out of the windup. It's right back where it came from, off the glove of Hobbs and into center field for a base hit. That was hit so sharply right back up the middle. Even caught Hobbs by surprise as it ticked off his glove and into center field.
That ball was smoked. Not a whole lot of reaction time for Hobbs, and he was still almost able to get something on it to knock it down. I mean, he slowed it down as it caught a piece of the glove, but just not a lot of time for the pitcher to react there. And really good swing from Bajani, who's looked comfortable these last couple times to the plate.
Second hit of the night for Bajani, and that's one of those, if you catch it as the pitcher, it's kind of a look what I found moment. First pitch swinging, Dalen Nanny, and it's 0-1. A good day for him, as we've mentioned. A good day for the entire bottom half of this Red Sox lineup. A good day for this Red Sox lineup in general, top to bottom, but especially the bottom half. 2 hits now for Bajani, Nanny, and Escala, your 7, 8, 9 hitters. And that one's roped down the first base line. Fielded on the back. And that's a very impressive double play by Rob Emery. 1-6 in your scorebook as he went sliding to his left, stabbed the bag, fired it over to short to make the tag. An impressive 1-6 double play to erase the single. So just like that, a quick inning for Michael Hobbs. Sets him down in order, and we go to the top of the 8th. You're listening to Red Sox Baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. back here for the top of the 8th as Jacob Winger comes out for another inning of work. It's been a good outing for him so far in his Cape League debut. And he comes square and out of the stretch, delivers the first pitch, and it's wide, 1-0.
Of course, he falls behind this guy, but you like that he's been efficient with his pitches. He's created a lot of soft contact and let his defense work for him behind him. I know that's a lot of cliches, but it's really what he's done. He hasn't overpowered very many guys. He's just gone after them.
Pinch hitting for A.J. Lewis is Julio Marcano out of the New Jersey Institute of Technology. Getting word from our producer that solid baseball program over there. I honestly, before today, not sure if I knew that there was one.
NJIT.
NJIT. 1-2 the count now to Marcano.
I recognize that name because they have a Division I volleyball program. So I've seen that a couple times throughout my tenure at Penn State.
The 1-2 is inside, and that'll even the count, 2-2.
But I do not know the baseball program that well. I don't really know the volleyball program that well either. I just have heard of it.
And that is one of the cool things about the Cape is that it kind of has this prestige of like, okay, yes, the best of the best are here, but there were a lot of very talented players playing at not the marquee Division I programs. Yep. And they can still arrive here, even if it is on a temporary contract, play their way into a full contract, and instantly improve their draft stock. And so these are guys that otherwise may not get the national attention that are getting it now.
I think that's kind of the beauty of baseball, is that sometimes it doesn't matter where you play. If you are good, they will find you.
When I was here in 2016, we had a player from a UMass Boston D3 school there that came in the latter half of the season and played very well at the top of the lineup. That one's roped down the line, but just foul, and the count remains full.
And not just Cape Cod. You see it in the Major League Baseball draft every year. There are players from junior colleges, Division III, Division II, Division I, your Blue Bloods. Everybody, if you are a good baseball player, you will be found, and you will probably have a shot to play professionally.
Marcano, an infielder, as he swings and misses over the top of an off-speed pitch, and that's the first out of the inning.
And I think that's one of the beauty of the Cape, for sure, because it's beyond just, oh, you put up great numbers in Division III. It's, oh, you put up great numbers in Division III, but let's see you prove it, and you give them that opportunity and the platform for some of these guys who maybe weren't highly recruited. They have their chance.
That'll bring up Max Troiani. Walked in the first, doubled in the third, and then singled in the fifth. So good afternoon for him. 8-2 our score. Andre Sims, Brian McLaughlin bringing you Red Sox baseball here and throughout the season, along with TJ Mathewson, as Troiani flares the first pitch of the at-bat over the backstop, and it's 0-1. Excuse me, 0-2. Troiani, the Bentley product. Senior, DHing tonight. Winger's 0-2. Slings the slider across the zone, and it's 1-2. At this point, the clouds are completely gone as the sun is still setting here in the Cape Cod evening as a swing and a miss as Troiani flails at the off-speed pitch awkwardly. 2 straight strikeouts to begin the inning for Winger.
What a night it has turned out to be. Slight breeze, sunny, great night for baseball. Great job by this crew to get the field ready to play today. It holds water well, but then there was a lot of work going on pregame to get it ready. One of only 2 Cape League games going on this beautiful evening because they got the field ready to go.
Winger's first delivery to Zach Kokoska is down low. Kokoska 2 strikeouts on the day from the left arm of Ian Seymour. Rolls over, hits it to first. Great diving stab. And it's a beautiful 3-1 from Jack Wold as that'll end the inning. So another 1-2-3 for Jacob Winger, and we head to the bottom of the 8th. Our score remains 8-2. We'll be right back on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. Back here with the home half of the 8th inning, Andre Sims, Brian McLaughlin with you as we have a pinch hitter for the Red Sox. Noah Myers, an outfielder, steps in and takes strike one. And in the 8th inning, Michael Hobbs gives way as that one is roped towards the YD dugout. And it's 0-2. Michael Hobbs gives way to Jared Lanes in the United States Naval Academy, the 6'6", 215-pound righty. And very quickly going down swinging, Noah Myers steps up to take an at-bat and is quickly dispatched from whence he came, and that's the first out of the inning.
That is a big man for the Naval Academy. Yeah, I know they have some of those just height, weight restrictions a little bit. Obviously, there's some exceptions. The basketball team is on the taller side, but it's generally a big thing in football. Their offensive linemen have to be a certain weight.
And that will bring us back to the top of the order. Wyatt Young out of Pepperdine, the second baseman, having a good day. Been on base 3 times. Takes strike one. Second pitch is an off-speed pitch, and he swings over the top of it, 0-2.
But he's been a good table setter today, and I think he's going to find himself in that spot moving forward, the way he's been able to get on base and get in front of the guys like Eister and Wold.
Certainly profiles as a top-of-the-order guy. Quick twitch, great hands at second base, and he is down swinging, so 2 very quick strikeouts for the Naval Academy product. And there are 2 quick outs in the inning.
That was a great backdoor breaking ball. Started high and away off the plate and just slowly dropped right onto the outer half. So I think we're going to see another pinch hitter here for YD.
So Eister's day is done.
Good day.
Great day. Home run, RBI, and a double, 3 for 4 on the day. and he gives way. So an impressive, once again, night for Eister.
Yeah, he's been really solid for YD so far in this season. Just hitting for power, hitting to all fields, as Suttelston will get his first at-bat today.
Suttelston, the Harvard product, Ivy League Player of the Year, takes his place as Scott Pickler going to his bench here in the 8th.
And he went to his bench a little earlier yesterday, but Suttelston went 1 for 4. Singleton actually scored on the Costello triple yesterday against Katuitt.
That one's in the dirt, and it's 2-1.
A lot of breaking stuff from Lanes out on the mound. He's living down low in the dirt, and that's clearly, I think, his MO out of the bullpen.
Suttelston back into the box. Awaits the 2-1, and that one's also low. 3-1. As a pitcher, if you're going to miss, you do want to miss low, and that seems to be where Lanes is living early in this outing. Jack Wold waits on deck for the Red Sox. Made the fine play to end the top half of the 8th, and Suttelston rolls over to second. Quickly over to first, and that'll end the inning. So a very efficient, almost Militarian-esque efficient
nice
1-2-3 inning for Lanes on the mound, and we will head to the top of the 9th inning. Our score holds at 8-2. You're listening to Red Sox Baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. Back here for the top of the 9th inning. 8-2 our score here at Red Wilson Field as Jacob Winger's night is done, and it was a very impressive night for him. 3 innings, 1 hit, no runs, 4 Ks. Winger gives way to David Steele, and he delivers a strike on a fastball in the outer half, 0-1. David Steele, one of a few Northeastern players on this squad. And the breaking ball drops in for a called strike 0-2.
Along with Jeff Costello for YD.
The 0-2 on its way. Well outside, and it's 1-2.
Couple defensive changes for YD between the innings as well. Wells is still in left, but it's Noah Myers in center and Dalen Nanny making his debut in the field in right. Still Terada, Young, and Wold in their spots, but Will Pickett centers at shortstop for Escala.
The 1-2, and Zamora swings over the top, and quick strikeout on the mound for Steele, and that's the first out of the ninth.
A lot of strikeouts today from this YD staff. We had 9 from Seymour, Winger with 4, and the first man strikes out here as well. 14 Ks as a staff is pretty solid. You have to like that if you're Scott Pickler.
Scott Pickler, the birthday boy today.
How about that?
How about that? Managing quite the game here today in Game 2. First pitch from Steele is in the dirt, and he wants a new baseball.
Definitely has to be pleased with how his guys are playing on his birthday, giving him a little bit of a present. Although, do you think anybody on that team knows that it's his birthday?
I'm going to go with no. I really don't think he told anyone. I'm not even sure if his coaches know.
I bet 1 or 2 coach knows, but I bet they have been sternly warned not to broadcast that everywhere.
That one's grounded the other way, off the glove of the diving Young, and that trickles into right field, and that's a base hit. That's the second grounder to go off the glove of Young in this game. Both of them very tough plays. The first one scored an error. I'd be hard-pressed to see that scored anything other than a hit.
That's a hit. He had to range a long way to his left, laid out, and just barely couldn't reel it in as it tipped off the very edge of his glove. That's a hit for sure. Would have been an outstanding play had he been able to make that diving stop.
And in a game full of outstanding defensive plays, that one would have stood out.
Yep.
So 1 man on for Orleans here as they're down to their final 2 outs. Steele delivers. And yes, he did. Rob Emery swinging over the top, unable to check his swing.
Hamburgers and hot dogs are now at half price. What a deal.
0-1 now. Rob Emery out of the University of San Francisco, a Don. And Steele looks to roll the double play. The 0-1 swung on and fouled off the right-hand side, and it's 0-2.
Just announced over the loudspeakers, hamburgers and hot dogs now at half price. Quite the deal. Are the donut burgers at half price?
That I'm not sure about, but hopefully they still have a couple after we're done here on the air because I'm starting to get hungry.
I'm still a rookie when it comes to the donut burger. Haven't yet gotten my hands on one of those bad boys, but I'm looking forward to it.
Donut burger, the staple item here at Red Wilson Field, one of the most iconic food items across all the Cape Cod Baseball League. 0-2 now the count. The 0-2 on its way is in the dirt and blocked well behind the plate by Bajani. After letting a couple through his legs in the early couple innings of this game, Bajani has really done well blocking balls behind the dish in the latter half of this game.
Yeah, this is a team that lists 3 catchers. Austin Wells has DH'd and played left field as listed as a catcher. He also played some first for Arizona. But both Kerner yesterday and Bajani today have been solid behind home plate.
The 1-2 from Steele is a breaking ball. It is fouled off once again, and it's 1-2, and the count holds.
And Kerner, the returning player for YD, picked a man off late in the game against Cotuit yesterday, and that was at the time a big play because it took a runner out of scoring position, picked him off third base, and kept YD within 1 run of Cotuit, headed to the 9th. So that was a big play, and Bajani today's done it with the bat as well with a couple of hits.
Once again, Steele set to deliver the 1-2, and that one's in the dirt once again, and once again blocked well. And we talked about small ball earlier, sort of the opposite, the defensive small ball, if you will, is the pickoff play, and we've now seen it a couple times against Cotuit and once tonight from Seymour.
Yeah, it's been something they've been able to use to really a good effect in helping out the defense get out of some jams.
2-2 on its way, and the breaking ball is swung on and missed. And that's the second out of the inning.
Got ahead of myself. I just wrote a little number 3 next to that strikeout in the scorebook. Not quite the third out yet, but still a couple of strikeouts so far in this frame.
Left fielder from the University of Tennessee.
So the
Zach Daniels.
Firebirds down to their last out here. And that falls on the shoulders and the bat of Zach Daniels. Steele comes set and delivers. And that one's grounded right to the shortstop. Pickett's easily over to Young, and that'll do it. So the Red Sox find themselves in the win column here in game number 2. They even their record at 1-1. The Firebirds drop to that same record. And it's a win for the birthday boys. Scott Pickler in the win column to start the season. Always great to start the home opener with a win as he shakes hands with Kelly Nicholson, the two of them, both longtime Cape League managers. A lot of respect between the two. And it was a good overall win, top to bottom. Did it at the plate, did it on the mound, and it's the type of well-rounded victory that you want to see.
Yeah, the offense got it done. The pitching staff strikes out double-digit men. They were able to really limit things and not ever give up. One of those big crooked innings that the offense got going for YD. This offense really got things cooking in a couple of those big innings. Extra base hits from Eister, people getting on base in front of him and just driving in runs. The bottom of the order, especially the likes of Bajani, Nani, and Descala, all with double hit days, 2-hit days, and they scored a total of 5 runs between those 3. If the bottom of the order is going to produce like that for any team in any league, you're going to score some runs, and that's what happened today within the top of the order, able to drive them in.
So 8-2 our final score. Orleans scored 1 in the third, 1 in the fourth. YD with 1 in the first, 4 in the third, and 3 in the sixth to score their 8. 8 hits overall for Orleans, but as we said, scattered, unable to string anything together. 11 hits for the Red Sox as they take this one by a final score of 8-2. So stick with us, though. Not done yet. We will be right back with a quick post-game show. Again, YD takes the victory 8-2. Back here at Red Wilson Field as fan favorite Brady just gave his post-game speech to the team, and he's now back in the huddle as they get set to break it down. You love watching Brady and his enthusiasm running all around Red Wilson Field.
He's been rocking the catcher's gear today. Now he's got the YD red hoodie on, Belichick-esque up here in Cape Cod in New England. But, yeah, he's been down in the bullpen with the catcher's gear. Love the energy, and what a home win for people like Brady and these home fans.
Yeah, and I'll tell you something, Brian, and before we get into our post-game wrap real quick, one of the things that I love about the Cape that really stands out to me is the regulars amongst the fans. You have people that have been coming to these games for years, if not decades, and it really is something special to see. And I think YD has a good contingent of people that have been around here longer than we've been alive.
Yeah, I met somebody at Dunkin' Donuts the other day. I had some YD gear on, and he's mentioned, "Do you work for YD?" I said, "Yeah, I'm interning there this summer." And he said, "I am a longtime fan. I have been a host family, and so now Doc and I are best friends after meeting in Dunkin' Donuts."
Incredible. But we didn't come back to talk about the regulars, as great as they are.
Of course.
But we came to wrap up this game, and it was a great game for the Red Sox, and a lot of very good performance, as we mentioned on the broadcast. A very balanced game, top to bottom. Great pitching, great and timely hitting. So if you had to pick a player of the game, of which there are plenty of options, who would you go with?
You're right. Plenty of options from the pitching staff to multiple bats in the order. But Andrew Eyster, I think, was the difference maker today. He got things started in the bottom of the first with a solo home run, and then was a big part of the big third inning rally with an RBI single there as well. He also had a double in the fifth inning. And even though he struck out once in the sixth, just a complete offensive day for Eyster, showing that he's got what it takes to hit some big-time pitching. And he's 5 of 6 now with a home run, just absolutely tearing the cover off the ball early in this season. He's got to be the player of the game.
And so in a game with so many great performances, what stood out to you about the difference between this YD team Game 1 and Game 2?
You talked about it during the broadcast, the balance of the offense. In the game against Katuitt, they couldn't string any hits together, and they just weren't really getting that many men on base. Today, it felt like the pitchers for Orleans were constantly pitching out of the stretch, right? It felt like they constantly had something to worry about, and that's from guys at the bottom of the order. We mentioned at the end of the call, Bijani, Nani, and Escala. All three had 2 hits. And then you flip that over to the top. Wyatt Young got on base 3 times with a couple of hits. And then Eyster cleaning everything up in that 2 spot. So I really think the balance was there. And the guys who had big hits yesterday maybe struggled a bit today, but the offense still carried the way with Jack Wold, the big hit yesterday, struggled a bit today. He did have an RBI in the sac fly. Costello, same thing, had the big hit yesterday. So I think we've talked about the balance of this offense, and that's going to be a big key. There are some big hitters, but it's not just going to be those big hitters that get the job done. People need to get on base for them.
Yeah, only 2 players in the YD starting 9 failed to reach base in this one. And that's impressive any way you slice it. And I think for me, the thing that stood out was the pitching staff and the strikeout numbers. I mean, scattering 8 hits, that's okay. You can live with scattering 8 hits, but to have that many strikeouts in the game, I just want to make sure my count is right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 strikeouts.
Point streak agrees, 15.
15 out of the 27 outs via the strikeout. That's impressive. And to have that not even just from one guy, I mean, Ian Seymour from Virginia Tech setting the table with the 9 Ks, but Winger coming in and getting 4. Steele after that with 2. In the Cape League, you need arms.
Yep.
And you need effective arms, especially out of the bullpen. It's hard to make a deep run in this league without talented pitching. And for Pickler and company, you got to like what you saw from your pitching staff today on the mound.
Seymour fell behind a lot of guys early, but the way he was able to battle back and only walk one man, it felt like he was in a lot of 3-ball counts. Honestly, he probably pitched even better than just the 5 innings show, but his pitch count was getting up there. You don't want to overstretch him early in this season. That's definitely, I think, why he came out after 5 and after YD had opened up the lead a bit. But he was really solid. Only 1 walk to 9 strikeouts. That's going to play all season long here in the Cape League, and just a great performance from that staff. And like you mentioned, Winger worked quickly on the mound. He had a rhythm out there. It never felt like they had anything going. The Firebirds had any shot of getting anything going against Winger. Only 2 hits allowed in 3 innings for him, and then Steele in the 9th. It was all but done at that point, but he slammed the door with a couple Ks as well. You're right, the arms matter, and we saw those arms come to play today.
So an impressive win for the YD Red Sox here in game number 2. As I said, they even their record at 1-1. The coverage doesn't stop here, even though we may be going off the air. Stay tuned for more post-game content on our social pages, on our YouTube, as TJ Mathewson, the third member of our broadcast team, is off getting post-game content right now. So stay tuned for some interviews from him. But that'll do it from up here in the booth. For Brian McLaughlin, I'm Andre Sims. Thank you so much for tuning in with us on this home opener. The Red Sox win by